There you go, both managers ahead of kick-off, and both teams have emerged from the tunnel just down to our right-hand side here at Adams Park, and both teams in their first choice colours. Well, to an extent, Fulham are actually in all white this evening, white shorts as well as the shirts and socks. Wycombe in the famous dark and light blue halves with the dark blue shorts and lighter blue socks. So let's run you through the team news again ahead of kick-off in case you're just tuning in to our commentary. Will Norris is the Wycombe keeper. Jack Grimmer, Connor Taylor, Anders Hagelskier and Taylor Allen in a back four. Ewan Henderson and Luke Leahy in midfield. Fred Onyedinma, Jamie Mullins and Sam Bell behind Cauley Woodrow in attack. For Fulham, Benjamin Lecomte in goal, Timothy Castagna, Issa Diop, Calvin Bassey and Jorge Cuenca in a back four. Harrison Reed and Tom Kearney holding, and then Adama Traore, Josh King and Kevin, who you just heard Lee Phelps waxing lyrical about, behind Raul Jimenez in attack. One of the interesting things that we're going to have to check out, we were looking at the warm-up, it does look like Calvin Bassey is going to play at left back, Courtney, to allow Cuenca to sit at centre half. I didn't trust myself earlier when I looked at the lineup, so I convinced myself Bassey was playing centre half, but the warm-up seemed to convince us otherwise.
Yeah, he was with the forwards when they were doing the drills later on, making sure he was providing crosses in the box from the left-hand side. It was also interesting actually because Bassey came out a lot earlier than everyone else, seemed to be doing a little bit of a fitness test with maybe the doctors and physios as well, so having to keep an eye on him for a couple of reasons tonight.
There might actually be something at the back for in the similar position for Wycombe too, whether Anders Hagelskier plays left back or Taylor Allen, because Taylor Allen has played left back in his career, but he's been centre half here. I imagine that Michael Duff will be loath to change the centre half partnership of Connor Taylor and Taylor Allen. That's been a good basis from which they've worked in his time so far. Yeah,
especially when you're early on in your tenure somewhere and something's working, you certainly don't want to change it if you don't have to. So I think especially that consistency from the back as well, even as a forward player, when you've got that consistency at the back, it makes everyone else feel better.
A reminder that there's other Carabao Cup action tonight on the Talksport network. Grimsby against Brentford is about to get underway over on Talksport with Jim Pramford and Dean Ashton. If you've got the app downloaded, you can just swipe effortlessly between our two commentaries to check out the action at any time. There's also Wrexham against Cardiff, the all-Welsh affair kicking off at 8 o'clock at the racecourse. And there's games in League 1 and League 2. Bradford-Lincoln's a good one. That's 4th against 6th tonight at Valley Parade. And Mansfield on a good run against Plymouth. And then Accrington-Tranmere, two struggling sides in League 2, meeting at the Wham Stadium. We are ready for the off. Robert Madley is our referee this evening, vastly experienced Premier League official, let's not forget. And Fulham are going to get us underway. They're defending the goal where their fans are away to the left in what's known as the whiff-away end. And that means they'll be attacking the Beechdean Terrace, Fulham, in this first half, away to our right. So ready for the off in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Fulham get us underway. And Tom Kearney immediately plays a long ball downfield looking for Kevin, but it's cleared away by Jack Grimmer, and Fred Onyedinma is immediately set upon by Calvin Bassey, and Kevin again looking to wriggle in field and find Tom Kearney in the centre of the Wycombe half. Harrison Reed, one of the 7 changes made by Marco Silva this evening, works it back to Issa Diop, has it again at the edge of the centre circle and finds Issa Diop once more. Kearney, who has a lovely left foot and can really create things from out of nothing, works it that left to Bassey, who is indeed playing at left back. Little touch in field, but it's won back by Wycombe, who can bring the ball over halfway, and it's a chance for Onyedinma to try and outpace Bassey, but he pushes Bassey over. I think he might have the beating of him for pace though, based on that little run. Courtney Sweetman and Kirk, 0-0.
Yeah, I think he might well do. You see Bassey, he just starts to panic a little bit, and I think he's a bit lucky really that Onyedinma makes the contact. He doesn't really need to, but
he was leaning back when he was running, Bassey, like Thelma off Scooby-Doo, when you know, trying to get away from a ghost.
Yeah, and also probably thinking if I do that as well, I can initiate the contact a little bit. So great start though from Onyedinma in terms of just putting a bit of doubt in the mind of Bassey, thinking, right, I'm in a game now.
Yeah, he's going to be a very important player here for a 4th spell. Fred Onyedinma had a couple of loan spells early on in his career. He scored against Huddersfield at the weekend. 0-0 on Talksport 2 in the early stages, and it is indeed Hagelskier playing at centre half and Allen has moved out to left back this evening for the Chairboys. Reid takes over for Fulham. And Jamie Mullins had a nibble at him and won the ball back for Wycombe. Bringing it into the half, he's got options left and right. Plays it to Ewan Henderson, left-hand side of the area. Across the face of goal and turned over the bar by Cuenca for a corner kick. He very nearly turned that into his own net. Corner Wycombe, 0-0.
He did, but the only thing that draws my attention that I can look at the moment is Harrison Reid. He loses the ball, his reaction is poor, he's then too busy remonstrating with the referee, even when he's running back towards his own goal. Yes, it might well have been a free kick, and I get it, I've been there as a player when you feel hard done to, but the first thing you've got to think is, right, switch on, deal with what's at hand, but he's very, very nearly let his team down there, Reid.
So Henderson, who put the cross in for that corner kick, is going to take the resulting corner down to our left where the main stand meets the away end. Right-footed in-swinger. Wycombe making runs into the box from the edge of the area. Goes deep to the far post. It was looking for Hegelskier, but it was hit too high and too long by Henderson and just drifts behind right next to the corner flag on the far side of the field for a Fulham goal kick. 0-0 the score on Talksport 2.
It's a shame that for Wycombe, because you're thinking for them they're probably going to spend more time sort of out of possession, so when they do get forward and especially from set piece situations, they've got to take advantage, and delivery has to be right first and foremost. So Benjamin Lecomte, French goalkeeper who hasn't played in the Premier League yet since joining Fulham, came from Montpellier in the summer. He works it out to Bassi, left back, who swings a long ball down the left-hand touchline, looking for Kevin, but beaten to it by Jack Grimmer. Now it's Henderson again, knocking it infield, touched from Jamie Mullins, just trying to keep it away from the attentions of Kevin, and then a shot from Woodrow. What a goal! Corley Woodrow against his old club. It's only taken him 4 minutes. The law of the X strikes against Fulham, and what a strike from 25 yards out. Woodrow lets fly, and Lecomte didn't even smell it. Wycombe 1, Fulham 0. What a strike, by the way. We're right in line with it, weren't we, Dan? When Corley Woodrow let that one fly, and my word, the power that he gets behind that, leaving the goalkeeper absolutely no chance. Maybe people will look back at this and go, yeah, keeper gets done at his near post, potentially should do better, but there's so much ferocity within that shot. I think it really does catch the goalkeeper out a little bit. 20 odd yards out, fantastic strike, and actually Wycombe have started really well and probably deserved that early goal.
I think Woodrow actually used Issa Diop as a really clever little shield to mask what he was doing with the shot. Here's Adama Traore as Fulham tried to respond. The Premier League side behind. Inside 5 minutes at Adams Park. Kearney puts the ball into the box. Grimmer heads clear. Woodrow is pushed over by Harrison Reid. Free kick to Wycombe just outside their own 18-yard box. And all around this stadium, a little bit of disbelief, but a lot of pride, because the League One side have got off to the perfect start here. 5 gone, 1-0 to the Chairboys. Yeah,
it's a brilliant start, and some people will say it's too early, but actually, when you look at Fulham and the position that they've been in recently, the fact they've lost 4 on the bounce now, actually to get that early goal, to put a little bit of doubt in the mind, thinking, oh, here we go again, this could be a real slip up for us. So I don't mind that early goal from Wycombe, and neither do any of these fans.
Well, you could say it's the one the neutral would have wanted. A goal for the League One side, just to test the mettle of the Premier League outfit. Free kick sent downfield for Wycombe. Onyedinma heads it infield, but it's thumped clear on the half volley by Diop. Drops around the centre circle. Knocked down for Adama Traore, just shy of the halfway line. Plays it forward to Castagna, who'd come quite a way forward. Kearney now tucks it into the centre circle for Harrison Reid. Cuenca plays it out to, well, nobody in particular, looking for the invisible man on that left-hand side. It might be looking for Kevin, but he was caught on his heels, and the ball just trickles over the dead ball line for a Wycombe goal kick away to our right-hand side, 1-0.
There's something I want to pick up on as well, Dance, and you mentioned Diop, and also I think Castagna gets a little bit outfoxed because Sam Bell is really clever. He makes the movement to go inside, and then when he sees his teammate driving in, Woodrow, he just takes a few steps back, probably about 5 yards, and I think, again, that just opens up the channel a little bit for Woodrow to take the shot off.
He made 66 appearances at Fulham, did Corley Woodrow. 12 goals in his time between 2014 and 17. He's on loan here from Luton Town, not too far from this neck of the woods. but he'll be delighted to have scored against his former club. No lack of celebration either, as we are far too used to seeing. Bassey with a throw for Fulham from the left-back position. Sent up to halfway, but Taylor Allen intercepts, but he's shown too much of that to Castagna. Now, can Fulham counter? Adama Traore, muscular midfielder for Fulham. Worked it in field to Reid, who managed to protect the ball from Jamie Mullins. Has it back again, Harrison Reid, trying to direct operations on the halfway line. Squares it to his left for Cuenca. Fulham wearing all white this evening. Diagonal ball from Cuenca, left to right, looking for Castagna. Does well to head it in field brilliantly and find Traore. And then Traore clearly pushes into the back of, I think it was Henderson. But no foul given by Bobby Madley. Instead, it's a throw to the Cottagers, 1-0 Wycombe.
Unbelievable. It was literally the biggest handoff you've ever seen. It was like something out of NFL. How that is not a foul, I will never know.
And it was right in front of the assistant too on this near side. Fulham have possession down the left-hand side with Kevin, who's clipped. It'll be a free kick for Fulham, about 10 yards inside the Wycombe half of the field. Our commentary position is only about 10 rows back from pitch level here at Adams Park. Get a real feel for the game when you're this low down. Here's Adama Traore up against Sam Bell, who's toe poked it behind. It will be a Fulham corner at the Beechstein Terrace end. 1-0 to Wycombe though on Talksport 2.
And well done to Sam Bell there, and I think he knows tonight that he's going to have to do that a little bit more than maybe usual in terms of getting back, helping his full back out, because Castagna likes to get forward, and obviously the threat of Traore down there too.
So Harrison Reid's gone across to help out for this corner routine, which is where the Beechstein Terrace meets the main stand. On Talksport 2, we played 8 minutes. Could be a left or a right-footed delivery here. Clutch of Fulham players beyond the far post. It's going to be Harrison Reid, right-footed into the near post. Little touchdown, might drop for Issa Diop. Bit of pinball inside the penalty area. Claims for a handball, but a corner's been given instead by Bobby Madley. Mansfield go 1-0 up on Plymouth in League One on a decent run. The Stags 4 unbeaten, and Will Evans has put them in front against Plymouth, who've hit a bit of a wall recently. Fulham behind here, the Premier League side, with another corner at the terrace end away to our right. Harrison Reid once again standing over it, right-footed out swinger. Again, a number of Fulham players have gone beyond the far post, including both centre-halves and Bassey. Reid delivers the corner deep to that far post. Bassey tries to go for a header, and it drops off his head and goes behind. In fact, it's claimed before it goes over the dead ball line by the goalkeeper Will Norris, and it stays 1-0 to Wycombe with 9.5 gone on Talksport 2.
I think Connor Taylor gets away with one there, a little bit lucky because he just gets caught underneath the ball. Luckily it doesn't fall for a Fulham player the way it needed to do to be directed towards goal.
Grimmer plays the ball down the right hand side, but Onyedinma's nowhere near catching that up. Cuenca will volley clear for Fulham, but only as far as Luke Leahy. Onyedinma goes down, no free kick, says the referee, so it's brought away by Kevin. They're going to tuck the ball forward. Good run down the left-hand side by Josh King for Fulham, getting into the area, left-hand side, trying to get past Connor Taylor. Gets to the dead ball line, but no corner kick. It was kept in play by the Wycombe defenders, and they just hoof it out of play for a throw on the far side. 1-0.
Yeah, if in doubt, in that position, you do see teams now, even from that position where backs against the wall, they'll win the ball back and they're trying to play it out in the defensive third, but sometimes you've just got to get rid of it.
So it is 1-0 to Wycombe Wanderers here on Talksport 2. Ian Danter and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Liverpool women's striker, with you at Adams Park. Grimsby Brentford currently 0-0 over on Talksport, and Wrexham Cardiff about to get underway in North Wales. It is Luke Leahy, once of Bristol Rovers and Shrewsbury, who tries to bring the ball away, but Kearney wins it back off Sam Bell on halfway. Plays it out to the right wing for Adama Traore. Going to have a run at Taylor Allen here. Gets to the dead ball line. The cross is deep to the far post, but it's well claimed by Will Norris, backpedaling, and took the catch neatly for Wycombe. They still lead 1-0.
Yeah, exactly what you want from your goalkeeper. Comes in, commands the area. It just makes everyone else feel that little bit more secure in a Wycombe shirt.
Plenty more Carabao Cup action tomorrow night. Remember, across the Talksport network, got 3 games for you. Liverpool Palace on Talksport, Arsenal Brighton here on Talksport 2, and you've got Wolves against Chelsea on the Talksport app. from the 4th round. But here at Adams Park in Buckinghamshire, Wycombe Wanderers, through Cauley Woodrow, the former Fulham man, it had to be, didn't it, has given the hosts the lead. Castagna being forced to track back to level with his own 18-yard line, gets the ball back to Lecomte. Harrison Reed picks it up at the edge of the D, turns quickly and finds Cuenca, who joined from Villarreal just over a year ago. Hasn't scored yet for Fulham, has possession midway point of his own half, plays a 1-2, and then under pressure from Leahy has to go back to Lecomte once again. Wycombe are happy to let certain Fulham players have the ball and they press on others, Courtney.
Yeah, it's obviously something they've identified in terms of the key players that they don't want getting on the ball. It's just sometimes if Leahy comes out of position there the way he does to Follow, got to make sure that everyone goes with him. Yes, I understand that there's certain players that want to be pressed, but the thing is, if he loses or comes out of his channel, everyone else has just got to tighten up a little bit more.
Throw into Wycombe, midway point of their own half, right-hand side, after Cuenca sent a fairly wasteful ball down the left-hand side. Fulham's best performance of the League Cup was only the season before last, when they got to the semi-finals, losing to Liverpool in the end. And it is strange that a club with the heritage and history of Fulham haven't won a major trophy. They got to an FA Cup final when I was a young lad back in 1975, losing to West Ham. Here is Kevin for Fulham, teasing the ball to the far post. Taylor Allen heads clear, had to make it because there were two Fulham players around him. Onyedinma can't chest the ball clear. Reed tidies up for Fulham. They're trying to gain some control here, the Premier League outfit. Diop, just over halfway, has possession. Slides it out to Traore on this near side, the Fulham right. Once again faced up by Wycombe defenders. Sam Bell's the man trying to get at the opposite number 11. Great cross from Traore and a header from Jimenez straight at the goalkeeper, who just plunged slightly to his left to hang on to the ball. It's a good chance for Fulham and a good cross from Adama Traore. 1-0 Wycombe. Yeah,
he does well, and that's something he's been criticised for, isn't it? Traore in terms of his end product, but beats Bell. Good ball in the box. He's got good pace on it. He should do better with it, really, someone of his quality.
There's a mythological story that Tony Pulis once used to make Adama Traore play on one flank on one half and then the same flank next to the touchline in the next half, so that he could keep coaching him in his Middlesbrough days.
Worst nightmare as a player, that is.
I can imagine. I'm not sure I'd argue with Adama Traore and tell him to be on the same flank as me, because he's a muscular man.
To be fair, I'm not sure I'd argue with Tony Pulis either.
No. It's a bit of a catchweight contest though between those two, isn't it? Let's be fair. Throw to Wycombe in their left-back position. Taylor Allen, who hasn't scored yet, I don't think, for Wycombe, but he used to get amongst the goals at Walsall. I think he was a bit of a free-kick specialist, but Wycombe have had their left-back free-kick specialist in the past, Joe Jacobson being a great exponent with penalties and set pieces. Think of the players that have passed through this club over the years. Issa Diop for Fulham finds Adama Traore, but he slips as he tried to move infield. Ewan Henderson takes over, works the ball into the centre circle, pushed by Harrison Reed on Mullins, right on the centre spot, and that gives Wycombe a free kick. We played a quarter of an hour on Talksport 2, and it's 1-0 to Wycombe if you're just tuning in. Cauley Woodrow with a spectacular hit inside 5 minutes. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk's with us tonight.
Yeah, and just you mentioned Henderson there, and I've enjoyed watching him actually. He's picked up some really good positions in there. I like the way he drops the shoulder, gets the ball out of his feet, turns and finds the ball in the middle, but he always just seems to be at the right place at the right time, both in and out of possession, just to sweep everything up.
He was a Celtic youth, Ewan Henderson. He joined in July from Beerschot in the Netherlands. Played a bit for Hibs as well. Has already scored this season for his new club against AFC Wimbledon. Leahy with the free kick, bang on the centre spot, floats it to the edge of the area, headed out to the edge of the box, and Kearney will complete the clearance and finds Kevin on the left-hand side of the Wycombe half for Fulham. Drives it right, left to right, looking for Castagna. Works it infield and gets it back to Issa Diop. Square ball for Cuenca.
Just see again there in terms of Leahy charging out, doesn't want Harrison Reed to get on the ball, or at least if he does, just there needs to be that 5-yard pass back. He doesn't want him to get turned and face forward.
I think it was Bobby Gould, who I was doing commentaries with many years ago on Talksport, who first alerted me to the idea that certain players don't get pressed and others do. I think he was looking at James Collins one day in a Villa game. So you watch, they won't press him ever. They'll let him have the ball. But the other centre-half, they will be on him like a rash.
Yeah, there's certain centre-halves where, and because I used to play in the centre-forward position, you're almost like, yeah, they can have the ball because they're probably going to spoon it out of play. And there's the one that you want to go and press and make sure that they've not got the distribution out.
Here's Adama Traore for Fulham. A goal down here at Adams Park on Talksport 2. Just trying to shuffle away from Sam Bell, who's pressurising him. It's knocked back 15 yards or so to Diop. Back into the centre circle for Cuenca. Bassi, who had a difficult afternoon at St James's Park at the weekend against Newcastle. Playing at left back tonight, Bassi, rather than the centre-half position he adopted. Accrington Stanley lead Tranmere Rovers by a goal to 0. In League 2 tonight, Sean Whalley for Stanley. Here's Bassi again for Fulham. On the halfway line, knocks it back in field for Cuenca. Now Kearney's come short to pick a position. Chips the ball out to Traore. Brings the ball down on his chest. Tight to this near touchline. Once again, he's got two Wycombe players to try and get past. One of them's Allen. Gets to the byline again. It's a delivery that's kept in play, but it drifts out to the far side of the field where Kevin does well to keep it alive for Fulham. Bassi works it back to Reed. Reed will play a square ball across to Diop. This is 20 yards inside the Wycombe half of the field now. Traore, now he knows he's got Sam Bell at his back, and Henderson. Henderson robs it off Traore. Not a bad job to out-muscle Adama Traore in the midfield to win it back for your club.
Yeah, exactly. Again, Henderson right place at the right time, sensing the danger, sensing when he can double up to help a teammate, and then just cool and calm in possession too.
Onyedinma chests the ball down really neatly to Jamie Mullins, who jinks into the centre circle. Bell has come for a short pass, but it's played out left to Taylor Allen, scheming forward for Wycombe Wanderers, level with the 18-yard line, cross deep to the far post, just couldn't wrap his foot round it enough. Again, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, we were right behind that cross, and he just didn't give it enough bend and whip to give any centre forwards a chance to run in on it. Goal kick, 1-0 Wycombe. Yeah,
and a little bit of hesitation as well, because Sam Bell's in the inside channel. I think he wants the one that's just slipped down the edge of the box, and I think he probably sees that, wants to play it, hesitates, doesn't, then he has to cross the ball in and sort of not then concentrating on the cross in. So it's just being a bit more purposeful with what they do. But when they do go forward at times, Wycombe, they do look dangerous.
Forward comes Kevin for Fulham, finds Adama Traore just inside the area, right-hand side, tries to check onto his right, then his left, tries to drive, and it's blocked behind by Allen, who stayed on his feet really well and blocked it behind, but it is another Fulham corner away to our right, 1-0 Wycombe.
Yeah, I think there's an element of Traore doing a little bit too much there, but nonetheless, I think you've got to give credit to Allen for the fact that he stood up, he didn't get twisted up and was concentrating on Traore's body shape, who's just looking at the ball and does really well to make the block.
So Harrison Reed is once again going over to where the Beach Dean Terrace meets the main stand here. We're sat in the main stand at Adams Park, so this is away to our right. Reed raises his left arm before sending this right-footed out-swinging corner into around the 6-yard line, headed out by Henderson. Kept away from Fulham shirts, at least initially, but it's worked back to the centre circle. Castagna tidies up for the Premier League outfit. He finds Kearney, who gives it back to Castagna. Again, just ahead of the halfway line. Cuenca receives it now just to his left. Gives it back to Castagna. Reed now takes over. A few Wycombe players go to warm up, and Fulham players down to our left-hand side. Kevin, with a heavy touch, has to get it back under pressure to Cuenca on halfway. Issa Diop receives possession, just leaves it for Harrison Reed. Hits an early ball, trying to get Castagna away down the right-hand side of the box, but it just skips away from him off the wet surface. And we had that, saw the sprinklers were on earlier in full effect, and it's ended up back in the arms of Will Norris, who clears 1-0 Wycombe.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Norris is on his front foot as well, ready to come and collect the ball. The worst thing you want as a defender there is your keeper to get stuck on the line and not help you out.
That's the voice of Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Liverpool women's striker, alongside me, Ian Danter, here at Adams Park, where it is Wycombe 1, Fulham 0. Corley Woodrow scoring against his old club inside 5 minutes, and Taylor Allen guides the ball back to his goalkeeper Will Norris, who came through the Wolves Academy as a youngster. Played up to Corley Woodrow, the goal scorer, on halfway. Chips it over to the right-hand side for Grimmer, the other former Fulham player in the lineup. Now it's protected by... Connor Taylor's been robbed by Kevin, who's trying to outpace him. Now Josh King has it down the left-hand side of the area for Fulham. Works it back to Kenny at the edge of the box, and his left-footed curler's just the wrong side of the post, with Norris plunging to his right. Might have had it covered, I don't know, but it went behind anyway. Goal kick, but a dangerous moment for Wycombe Wanderers to try and keep their 1-0 lead, which they do.
Yeah, it wasn't. Kevin has been the bright spot for Fulham already. Looks dangerous on the ball. Manages to just wiggle down that left-hand side. He's got the composure to then find his teammate Kearney, who just can't quite get the whip on it to bring it back inside the near post.
So it's a goal kick for Wycombe away to our right. Norris takes his time. Joined from Pompey in February, Will Norris, 32 years of age now. And he was recalled, actually, by Michael Duff once he got his feet under the table here at Wycombe Wanderers, the new manager. Refer to Mickey Van Sass, who hasn't played in League One since September. He's amongst the Wycombe substitutes tonight. So he played the first half of the first half. 23 minutes gone. Wycombe 1, Fulham 0 on Talksport 2. And Brentford have the lead at Grimsby over on Talksport. Matthias Jensen putting the Premier League side ahead at Blundell Park. You can pick up commentary of that using the Talksport app with Jim Proudfoot and Dean Ashton up there on the East Coast. Here is Tom Kearney for Fulham, working it back to Harrison Reed. Now Bassey just head of the centre circle, faced up by Onyedinma, slides it out to Kevin on the left-hand side. He's going to have a run at Jack Grimmer down that left-hand side. Showed too much of that to both Grimmer and Onyedinma, but a throw has been given to Fulham, which they've taken quickly down their left-hand side. 1-0 Wycombe. Yeah,
and Grimmer's done well there, because Kevin is a player that's got great ability on the ball. He's fast over the first 5 yards with and without the ball, and he loves to take players on, but Grimmer sticks to task really well.
Bassey has it again for Fulham, just over the halfway line, looks and turns it back up to square to Cuenca on the halfway line. Now Diop looking again for Adama Traore, tight to this near touchline. Proper chalk on his boots evening so far for Adama Traore. Drops his shoulder to try and get away from Sam Bell down the right hand side. Again gets to the byline. Again the cross is good, but again Will Norris is there with a comfortable catch under no real pressure for Wycombe. 1-0 they lead.
You just see Jimenez there. I think he gets caught a little bit on his heels, doesn't know whether to stick or twist. And it's good from Norris, because again he's coming out commanding his area. But like you say, you want a Fulham player, even if they don't think they can go and win the header to score the goal, just put Norris under a little bit of pressure.
Breakfast back tomorrow on Talksport from 6 a.m. Alan Brazil and Super Ali McCoist will both have opinions on what's been happening with Brendan Rodgers, Martin O'Neill, Celtic and all that jazz. Just make sure you're with them for that. That'll be incendiary stuff. But if you fancy something different on your morning commute, then there's always the Chris Evans Breakfast Show on Virgin Radio from 6:30. Wycombe 1, Fulham 0. 25 minutes gone. Wycombe in possession. Onyedinma, right-hand side of the area. Plays the ball into the near post. Headed clear by Cuenca. Kept in play as it by Kevin. In fact, Grimmer's protecting it out of play so that Wycombe can have a throw, but they take it quickly. Leahy gives it back to Grimmer on the far right-hand side. Tucked in field for Woodrow. Woodrow, lovely reverse ball. Onyedinma almost in it. Inside of the area right-hand side, but in fairness to Calvin Bassey, he had pace there to turn and get goal side and win the ball back. Onyedinma loses out to Bassey once again on the left-hand side, and Bassey in the end actually gets the clearance wrong, and it's a Wycombe throw. Wycombe lead 1-0 here.
I don't know why, but I just feel like Onyedinma in that moment hesitated. It gave Bassey, yes, he had the pace to get back, but just the opportunity for Bassey to go and make the challenge, frustrated with himself, Onyedinma, and then that's why he goes and wins the ball back so well.
Kearney picks it up for Fulham inside his own half. Needs an option, doesn't have one at the moment, but he turns away from his opposite number Leahy well enough and finds Jimenez, who's playing on the right wing for the moment. Now he knocks it back via Traore into his own half for Diop. Cuenca looks up, spots the run of Jimenez in the right-hand channel. Castaña's come forward as well, headed clear by Wycombe. It's actually good defending in the end. Leahy coming back to stick a toe end in and help the home side win it back, and Henderson just calms things down and just knocks it back to Taylor. And then a long ball down the right, and again it's a race between Bassey and Onyedinma, and again, credit Calvin Bassey, used his physicality to keep Onyedinma away from the ball. 1-0 Wycombe.
Yeah, he's clever because he knows if he's getting a 1-for-1 foot race that he's not going to win it, Bassey, but what he does is he uses his body and his body positioning incredibly well just to make sure that Onyedinma can't really get a sniff. If he does sort of go through the back of him like we saw earlier in the game, then it's going to be a free kick, so it's really clever defending.
Harrison Reed at the edge of the centre circle inside his own half finds Issa Diop. The score is Wycombe 1, Fulham 0 on Talksport 2. Castagna charging down the right hand side for the Premier League visitors. Kearney finds Kevin left hand side of the area. Couple of Wycombe shirts facing him, goes for the dead ball line, pulls it back to the far post. Jimenez heads it towards goal, but it's kept out and held onto on his goal line by Will Norris. It's a tight angle for Jimenez to get the header away. From this angle, it looked like it might have been going in, but Norris was equal to it, 1-0.
Yeah, and there's actually not a lot more than Jimenez can do with that, if I'm quite honest, because he's stretching for it. There's not a teammate near him that he can nod it down to, so he's just trying to direct it as much as he can. The thing I worry here for Wycombe was a couple of times now, Kearney's took up a fantastic position, about 20 yards out on the edge of the box, and it's been too easy for him to spend a period of time on the ball. We saw it with the shot and there where he can let the ball run across his body and play it out to the left-hand side, so they just need to be a bit better with that, Wycombe.
Cuenca for Fulham looks for Castagna, but this time it's way overhit. Too much club on that from Jorge Cuenca, so Wycombe will have a throw. 28 minutes played at Adams Park. Cauley Woodrow's early thunderbolt from just around 20 yards out has given Wycombe the edge in this cup tie. Remember, it's 90 minutes only. There will be no extra time. If scores are level, we would go straight to a penalty shootout. Here's Josh King, lively in the midfield for Fulham. Fires it out to the equally fleet of foot Kevin into the area, looking for King to get it back, and then a shot just dribbled wide from Fulham. I'm not sure whether Norris had that covered. A little daisy cutter that went wide. Cardiff City have the lead in the all-Welsh Carabao Cup tie. Wrexham 0, Cardiff 1. Yusuf Salek puts the Bluebirds ahead. I don't think they've met many times in history, the two Welsh rivals from north and south, but Cardiff have the edge at the moment. So a goal kick to Wycombe, and Michael Duff will be deliriously happy with this. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk 1-0 up with 29 gone.
Yeah, he'll be happy because that's not just been the only chance either. They've created more, or there have been moments where they've had to drop in and defend. Of course, Wycombe have, but he'll be happy with the way they've defended. The moments that they've chose to try and step out of the defensive shape when they think they can go forward, and of course Fulham no end of problems. Onyedinma,
right hand side for Wycombe, plays it out to the right hand side. Grimmer's on the burst, but Bassey gets there before him, clears it down the line for Kevin, but Kevin's attempted back flick to get it further clear was easily mopped up by Wycombe's players on that right hand side, and it's played all the way back into their own half. And just a moment there where Hagelskier had to be certain he was the man that was intended to pick up the loose ball. Oh, lovely turn from Sam Bell, completely got away from Issa Diop into the area left hand side, tried to pull it across the face of goal, and Cuenca got a foot in. It's going to stay in play though on this near side. Bell picks it up again for Wycombe down the left hand side of the box. Castagna with him, plays it back to Mullins. Mullins almost lost his footing for a moment, plays a 1-2 with Taylor Allen, plays the ball into the box, but it's easily intercepted by Kearney, who finds Josh King, and now Fulham are on the counter attack. Kevin going like an express train to the inside left channel. Now he's been found, but the ball from King just evades him, but he'll keep it in play. Kevin out on that left hand side for Fulham, but he has to play the ball back fully 25 yards to Harrison Reed, and the impetus of that counter attack is gone. Moment's gone, and Josh King there, he was jumping up in the air frustrated, almost like he was frustrated at Kevin, but for me it was his poor ball. He has to do better. Reed picks it up for Fulham. A goal down here with half an hour gone on Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup 4th round. Wycombe holding firm for the moment after that brilliant early goal from Cauley Woodrow, and they've won it back again, Wycombe, and the chance for them to bring it forward, and it is the goal scorer Cauley Woodrow, who again has got the better of Harrison Reed, brings it forward to 30 yards out, feeds Onyedinma, goes for goal right hand side of the box. It was more of a cross shot in the end from Onyedinma, couldn't find anybody, and it goes behind for a goal kick. And this time Harrison Reed doesn't have a go at the referee, just pulls his socks up. Quite literally, whether he figuratively needs to pull his socks up is another matter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
What I will say about the referee, whether I agree with some of the decisions or not, it's been consistent. He's let a lot go, and that's where, as a player, you can sort of deal with that because you know what you're letting yourself in for.
Oh, poor goal kick from Fulham. It was rolled out by Wycombe to King, and he was very nearly dispossessed by Jamie Mullins, but he did really well, Josh King, to stay on his feet and run back to his own 18-yard line just to protect the ball. And then Jimenez, a lovely turn on halfway to get away from Hegelskier, but across came Grimmer on the cover to guide it back to Norris. We just saw a lovely turn on this near side as well, didn't we, Courtney, from Sam Bell to completely... Diop had to pay to get back in the ground.
Yeah, he sent him shops, didn't he? It was wonderful the way that he drops the shoulder. The first touch with the inside, like he's going backwards. Then with the outside of his foot, he's got then the pace and fleet of foot over that first 5 yards. It was brilliant. He just didn't have the quality on the cross.
Diop finds Castagna on halfway, right in front of the dugouts, down to our immediate right-hand side. It's worked back for Jorge Cuenca. Wycombe 1, Fulham 0 on Talksport 2. Castagna from right back. Gets to around level with the 18-yard line. Tries to clip it in field for Traore. Gets it back via a ricochet. Now feeds Kearney. Kearney floats the ball diagonally to the left-hand side for Kevin. Brings it down. 2 Wycombe players watching him. Grimmer and Onyedinma. And it's Grimmer who dispossesses Kevin, but then Bassey's there to help out and win it back. Now William puts the ball in again. Just headed wide by Castagna. Kevin's cross from the left-hand side was right onto the head of Castagna out in front. But that was a right back with the attempted header, and it drifted well wide of the post. 1-0 Wycombe, goal kick.
Yeah, wrong technique for me. He can go and meet that with a full forehead and head it back across where it's come from. But he's trying to on the run glance it. It's so difficult when the ball's got so much pace on it.
Well, the League Cup record for Fulham last season, they were knocked out on penalties at Preston last season in this competition. And Wycombe reached the third round as well last year. They were beaten here by Aston Villa by 2-1. They're 1-0 up here against Premier League opposition tonight. Harrison Reed wins it back for Fulham in the left-back position. Bassey tucks it back to his goalkeeper, Lecomte, and he will immediately look for Issa Diop, who brings the ball up to the midway point of his own half. I think... Oh no, there's a couple of players wearing gloves out there tonight. Jimenez has got a pair of gloves on. So has Diop, and so has Calvin Bassey, but I would say it's mild for this time of year, this evening.
Yeah, it is. It's certainly not gloves weather just that. And this is coming from someone who loved to play in every layer possible when it was cold.
Here's Kevin. Lovely run to get away from Grimmer, but then just runs out of room in the end. In fact, his attempted ball across the box was blocked by Taylor, and then Grimmer helps bring it clear. And then Onyedinma tries to win a throw off a Fulham player, but it ends up being a Fulham throw. Midway point of the Wycombe half, taken quickly by Reed. Kearney lets the ball run across his body and then rolls it across to Diop. 10 minutes to half-time on Talksport 2. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Fulham 0. The goal coming from Corley Woodrow inside 5 minutes, and what a goal it was. Proper thumping right-footed effort. It's in the centre circle with Cuenca. Squares it to his right for his fellow Fulham centre-half Diop. Back with Cuenca once again. Woodrow just keeping half an eye on him. Diop is given possession once more. Now Henderson facing him up. He plays a 1-2 with Harrison Reed this time, and Fulham look to work it from right to left. And Calvin Bassey. Early ball into the feet of King, and he's caught by Onyedinma. Free kick to Fulham, 10 yards inside the Wycombe half of the field. 1-0.
Just watching the Fulham players warming up below us as well, the likes of Iwobi and Sassignon. You think if it continues to stay like this, how quickly will they be called upon in the second half?
Here's Adama Traore getting the better of Sam Bell. Finds Castagna along the dead ball line. Plays the ball into the near post, and Taylor heads clear for Wycombe, and it goes out of play for a throw. Taken quickly by Diop, goes all the way back to halfway and finds Jorge Cuenca, who'll bring it into the Wycombe half, plays it down the right-hand side of the box, looking for the run of Jimenez, but it skims off the greasy surface, and Norris is able to run out and block. Remember, after all the football tonight, you can tune over to Talksport as Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara will open up the sports bar. Your chance to have your say, and Ian Abrahams is with us tonight. He'll bring you all the post-match reaction from the managers and the headline makers on Talksport during the course of the Sports Bar from 10 with all his close personal friends. Jack Grimmer for Wycombe fires it into the feet of Fred Onyedinma. It's possessed by Bassi, and now Kevin brings it away down the inside left channel for Fulham. King out on that left hand side, just jinks in field. Jimenez loses out, but it's Kearney who takes over, finds Castagna. It's to work from left to right by the Premier League side. Tucked down the right hand side of the box for Castagna, who drives it across the face of goal at pace, and it ends up on the far left hand side, kept in play by Calvin Bassi. Bassi will knock it back for Reid. Reid into the edge of the area. Josh King trying to get the ball onto his right for a strike, and it's held at his near post by Will Norris. Good chance for Fulham. There's a Wycombe player, Luke Leahy, down inside his own 6-yard box. But Fulham were patient and worked the ball left to right and eventually got their shot away, but it's still 1-0 Wycombe.
Yeah, and that's why they don't want Harrison Reid getting on the ball, because there's a wonderful passage where he receives the ball, and then it's the little reverse pass, the blind one, strikes it well, so it's gotten it. Weight on it is spot on, and that allows King to then take it on the first touch, drive and get the shot off. Obviously the shot off comes to nothing, and it's well saved by Norris, but you're seeing Reid and Kearney picking up spaces which I think will start to worry Wycombe, and it's getting to that point back end of the first half where I think you're just starting to see a little bit of fatigue in them.
That's the voice of former Liverpool women's striker, fitness guru, caramel chocolate drinker, and much more besides, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me, Ian Danter. There's a break in play here because Luke Leahy is receiving treatment in his 6-yard box, so Michael Duff has very quickly summoned quite a few of his Wycombe players over to this near touchline for a chinwag, whilst Marco Silva's only got the ear of Timothy Castagna at the moment, but there's a few Fulham players now drifting over to this touchline as well. So as we edge towards half-time, Courtney, we've got less than 10 to play. Are Fulham doing what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong, the Premier League side in this instance?
I think it needs a little bit of patience because they're coming up against a side that Wycombe, they obviously go ahead early, fantastic for them, they've got that confidence, and then they are starting to drop a little bit deeper and deeper, so it's hard to break down. So there's an element that they need to be a bit more composed in the final third. Castagna, that opportunity there is probably a prime example where they do everything right, work it really well, and then at the last moment Castagna's ball in just needs to be better, and I think that's sort of a recurring theme, not just with Castagna but with others. But there's also the element of patience because they know they're expected to come here and win this as the Premier League side.
In the Carabao Cup, Brentford have a second at Grimsby. Keane Lewis Potter making it Grimsby 0, Brentford 2. That's live on Talksport right now with Jim Proudfoot and Dean Ashton. Wrexham 0, Cardiff 1, as I mentioned. In League 1 tonight, Bradford 0, Lincoln 0 and Mansfield 1, Plymouth 0. Accrington lead Tranmere by 1-0 in the only League 2 game tonight. We're about to get back underway because Luke Leahy is back on his feet. Norris clears from hands, the Wycombe keeper, straight onto the head of Cuenca, who gets it up to halfway, but Connor Taylor with a good strong header forward from the former Stoke man who joined Wycombe in July. Onyedinma looks to pressurise Bassi, who's done pretty well at left back tonight, I will say, Calvin Bassi.
Yeah, he has. I think in the first sort of minute or two we were quite worried that Onyedinma would have the better of him, but in terms of his positioning, it's been really good to get the better of that battle.
Now down the Fulham right, it's Adama Traore working the ball back to Kearney. He gives it back to Traore. Faced up by Sam Bell, drops his shoulder, comes in field, Traore. Knocks it into the centre of the Wycombe half for Harrison Reid. Reid knocks it backwards to square to Bassi. Now it goes out to Kevin on the left-hand side. Chance to run at Grimmer. No, he's got King out there for support, so he uses him. Gets it back now. Kevin. I could never quite used to a Brazilian player called Kevin. Why it's not Kevinho, I don't know. In fact, there was a time, there was a former player, Kevin Francis, who you may or may not remember. He was 6'7", jumped about 5'8", and the late great Jimmy Greaves once dubbed him Kevinho because he scored a worldie of a goal against Middlesbrough in this competition on an icy pitch at St Andrews back in the mid-90s. Yeah, it should be Kevinho, shouldn't it?
It should be. It just, like I say, it doesn't really suit the flair, does it? Especially the magic he's got in his boots.
Well, he looks lively, doesn't he? It's the first time I've seen him live, Kevin, to be fair, Courtney. He's caught the eye.
Yeah, same for me. And you watch games, don't you, on the television and listen, obviously, to Talksport and all the positive things that are said about him. But I always sort of try and reserve judgment until I've seen a player in the flesh. And I've been Every bit excited about watching him live, as you know, I've heard about him. So it's just, again, with him, end product. But give him the ball more as well. I think every time that he gets on the ball, he looks dangerous. He just got to now put it on the back of the net.
3 minutes to half time on Talksport 2. It is Wycombe Wanderers 1, Fulham 0. Corley Woodrow scoring against his former club in the early stages of this tie. Remind you that Wycombe only have 1 defeat in 8 under their new manager Michael Duff. Prior to his appointment, they played 11 and won just 2, with 6 defeats. So there has been a real change after Mike Dodd's departure. And they're coming forward again, Wycombe here, with Luke Leahy tight to this near touchline, gets over the halfway line, rolls the ball in field for Woodrow. Bell's gone into an offside position, so he can't use him, so back it goes to Leahy. Now Bell's got himself onside, works it back in field to Woodrow, keeping the ball nicely, and then Woodrow looks for the crossfield pass to Grimmer. Brings it down on his instep, nicks it in field to Onyedinma, gives it back to Grimmer. First time cross, poked away by Cuenca, only as far as Onyedinma. Grimmer still there, right wing, level with the 18-yard line, plays the cross in. Cuenca heads clear, and Kevin will just loft it down the Fulham left, but Taylor coming forward from centre half, got his chest onto the ball and played it down the right-hand side. But again, Bassi doing well against Onyedinma to protect the ball and make sure it goes behind for a goal kick to Fulham. But they're running out of time, Marco Silva's men in this first half. 2 to the break, it's 1-0 Wycombe.
Just watching Sam Bell, and it's easy to see him here for us because he's at this left side of the pitch right in front of us. At times I think he goes a little bit too early and he goes narrow too quickly. I think he needs to keep his width a little bit more and then go later. Just think he'll get more joy and help his teammates out.
He's on loan from Bristol City, Sam Bell, 3 goals in his last 8 appearances, so he's adjusted pretty well to this level. Jimenez for Fulham meantime finds Kevin on the far left hand side, just past the midway point of the Wycombe half, plays a looping ball to the far post looking for Castagna, and he's won a corner off Sam Bell at the Beechstein Terrace end away to our right. Fulham pressing at the end of this first half, and they're a goal down.
It's good work by Bell though, getting back, making it difficult for Castagna.
Brentford had just gone 3-0 up on Talksport against Grimsby. Reece Nelson has the 3rd goal for Brentford. Short corner for Fulham, works along the dead ball line to King, gives it back to Kearney, works it into the near post, and it was actually well cleared from in front of goal by Jack Grimmer, meaning his goalkeeper didn't have anything to worry about. Will Norris behind him, gone out for a Fulham throw. Here's Harrison Reed chipping it down the right hand side of midfield, looking for Adama Traore, but Taylor Allen deals with it well. We'll get it back from Sam Bell and we'll clear Wycombe's lines up to halfway. It drifts over the head of Woodrow and Diop, drops with Cuenca, and he squares the ball across to the left, and Bassi elects to go back to his goalkeeper Lecomte. This game will switch to Talksport in the second half by virtue of the fact that Brentford already appear to be home and hosed at Blundell Park. So you can use the Talksport app to swipe around and you will find this game on Talksport for the second half here at Adams Park, where another Fulham player goes down wanting a free kick, and again Bobby Madley says nothing doing. As we're about to find out how much added time we'll have at the end of the first half. Well, here's Onyedinma on his bite down the right-hand side, clips the ball into the area, just goes beyond Sam Bell, and Diop clears in the nick of time, just before Taylor Allen got to the loose ball inside the box.
It's the first time Onyedinma's got the better of Bassi there, and he's that fast that the problem is Woodrow can't keep up. Then Bell's having to come across from that wide area, which was the right thing to do in that position, but that means that when it floats over him, there's no one else there, because obviously Allen doesn't want to detach from that back line that early. So it's a shame, because it's a really good opportunity for Wycombe.
So we're into that 2 minutes of minimum stoppage time at the end of the half. Kearney keeps his footing and then gives the ball away. Grimmer got his foot to the ball. Oh, and then he cleans out Calvin Bassi as he slides in. It's going to be a yellow card for the Wycombe fullback for completely cleaning out Calvin Bassi. Pretty easy decision for Robert Madley to make there to issue the yellow card.
Yeah, you saw it coming an absolute mile off. As soon as Grimmer went to ground, you knew he'd timed it wrong. In all fairness, I do think he tries to pull out. There's no suspicion of studs up or anything like that, but absolutely clears Bassi out. So we've played a minute and a bit of the minimum 2 that have been added on. Wycombe 1, Fulham 0. Can Wycombe hold themselves out till half time here
on Talksport 2. This game will switch to Talksport for the second half, remember. Harrison Reed standing over this free kick, just over the halfway line. Kearney in support, but he's actually going to backheel it for Kearney to tuck it down the left-hand side for Kevin. Kevin having a run at Anya Dim, a little 1-2 attempted with Harrison Reed, but they deal with it, Wycombe, and away they come on the counter-attack. And it's Henderson, who's been impressive in the first half in the Wycombe midfield, who gets up to halfway and then turns away from danger and protects the ball. Yeah,
it's been really good. And then you see out of possession, he's in the right place at the right time to make the tackles.
And there goes the half-time whistle. The boos you can hear from the Fulham contingent away to our left-hand side. The 1,800 travelling supporters not happy at all with what they've seen, but joy unconfined elsewhere, because Corley Woodrow, one-time Fulham player, thumped Wycombe into an early lead with a fantastic drive from just outside the area that beat Benjamin Lecomte. All ends up, and Wycombe have been very lively in this first half. Fulham have had their moments coming forward, but Will Norris hasn't been forced into a really top-class save in this first period. But there was nothing that the Fulham keeper could do about the goal that separates the sides at the break. It's Wycombe 1, Fulham 0, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, it was an excellent strike from Woodrow. All the ferocity it needed to beat the goalkeeper, and you mentioned it at the time. I think it was clever the way that he used the defender in Diop just to try and unsight the goalkeeper as well. I just want to mention, it was strange. I've just seen Cuenca, who's obviously over the other side of the pitch, because that's his position at centre half, and he absolutely sprinted in down the tunnel. Just seemed a bit of a peculiar one. Don't know if he's got an issue or whether he's thinking, I just want to get in here because it's a bit of a nightmare of the first half. But Wycombe fully deserved their lead. They've obviously picked and chosen their moments to go forward, but also to sit in and try and frustrate Fulham, and they're great value for the lead.
And Fulham, Wycombe rather, for their part, I mean, the perfect start. Yeah, couldn't have been any better. You get the goal, but then what I like is the fact that they don't straight away just sit in and try and soak up the pressure, because I think that's always a recipe for disaster. I like the way that Leahy's gone and tried to press Harrison Reed to try and negate the threat that he causes. There's been times where Reed's got free, and Kearney as well, but that's to be expected. The one I've really been impressed with is Henderson. I think he's been magnificent in the midfield, right place at the right time to pick up the bits, make a challenge or make an interception, and then when he gets on the ball he's calm and composed, and one of those midfielders as well where his head's always on the swivel, seems to have that awareness of what's around him, and it's been really impressive. But just finally, you've mentioned it, you look at that Fulham bench, there's a proper cavalry that can be called upon to try and turn this around second half.
Yeah, and if anything, actually, you don't want it as Wycombe, but it also would be impressive to speak about their first half if now Fulham are going to make them changes, if they need to make those changes to try and dismantle this Wycombe side. So yeah, you're looking at the likes of Sander Berger, Alex Iwobi, Sasha Lukic, obviously more defensive. Sessegnon's a bit more of an attacking threat. So look, they've got players that they can call upon, and great credit to Wycombe Wanderers for going in front, not just frustrating and sitting in, but actually giving it a right good go against Fulham.
Well, as it stands, Wycombe are going further in this competition than they have since the year they made the semi-finals in 2006-07. Round 5 is their destiny at the moment. Remember, this game into the second half will continue over on Talksport. We are switching because Brentford are 3-0 up at Grimsby in what's been the Talksport commentary in the first half. So we're going to switch around and we will be on Talksport in the second half. At the break, it is League One Wycombe 1, Premier League Fulham 0.
Online, on DAB+, and on the app. This is Talksport 2.
From Seaman to Souness and Bellerin to Big Sam, football has had its fair share of majestic moustaches and terrible tashes. Listen to the Superstar Breakfast every morning this week as we assemble the Ultimote 11, the definitive confederation of football face-off favourites. The Ultimote 11 every morning this week from 6 on Talksport with November. The moustache is calling. Grow and mow, raise funds, save lives. Sign up now at Movember.com.
Which business insurance provider is trusted by nearly 1 million customers? Take it away, Gina.
Simply Business.
From builders to bakers to beauticians, if you need business insurance, join nearly 1 million customers who trust Simply
Business.
So search Simply Business today.
Simply Business.
That's enough, Gina.
Simply Business.
T's and C's and acceptance criteria apply. UK only.
Take advantage of the Kia Electric Car Allowance to drive the Kia EV3, this year's UK and World Car of the Year, or the new EV4, the Times Electric Car of the Year 2025, with a range of up to 388 miles. Get up to £3,750 towards your PCP finance deposit contribution and 3.9% APR representative until the 16th of December. Search the Kia Electric Car Allowance today. Kia. Movement that inspires. Range based on test conditions and may vary. T's and C's apply. Kia Finance.
Switching to Vodafone full fibre broadband is now as easy as pie. Ooh, freshly baked. It's a walk in the park. Hello, little fella. It's like taking candy from a baby. Come on, as if I'd do that. With One Touch Switch, it's easy. We sort everything out for you. We even contact your current provider. Plus, we'll help towards leaving fees. Switch today to full fibre broadband with Vodafone.
Up to £200 credit to cover leaving fees. More information and terms at vodafone.co.uk/broadband.
Right, what's for dinner tonight? Co-op's new meal range, Served, takes the hassle out of cooking. Choose from a selection of Italian-inspired mains and sides. And dinner is served for two. All for just £7 for Co-op members. Co-op, owned by you, right by you.
£8 for non-members, ends 20th of October. Co-op group membership required. Selected products subject to availability. See co-op.co.uk/serve.
And now, the weather.
Outside, gloomy skies, a persistent drizzle, and a chilly wind blowing from the west, north, east, and south. But inside, temperatures of toasty warm with a high chance of comfy cushions, soft lighting, and a smattering of snuggly throws. Come home to cozy. Discover textiles and lighting at your local IKEA now. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Get all the goals on your radio.
And he heads it towards goal, and it's in!
The League Cup live on Talksport 2.
Given away by McCarthy. Isak! Liverpool 2, Southampton 1.
You would never rate Liverpool off.
Getty with a corner! What a moment!
They are set up brilliantly. They make it difficult for you.
Here's Eze inside the penalty area. Gyökeres!
The options that Arteta have, the rotation he can make.
I think Arsenal can be champions this year.
Welbeck! And he hits the back of the net. It's Danny Welbeck. Bruno Guimaraes gets above the marker and heads the ball in at the far post.
There's a lot to be excited about for Newcastle fans.
Goodness comes back in on his left foot, draws the ball down low to the left and produces a brilliant finish.
No reason why they're not going to win FA Cups and League Cups.
And tucked in! Santi Bueno!
It's a really difficult job for Victor Pereira.
Having scored twice in 90 seconds to turn it around at the beginning of the second half. Chelsea will know that they've been in an epic cup tie here, but it is one that Chelsea have won. Lincoln 1, Chelsea 2.
So half-time at Adams Park here on Talksport 2. We'll shortly be simulcasting with Talksport for second half commentary on this game. And why not? Because League One Wycombe lead Fulham by a 1-0. The Premier League side have got work to do. Talksport will join us in a few minutes' time for the second half of this game with the League One side ahead. But there's other Carabao Cup action tomorrow across the Talksport network with 3 games on Talksport, Talksport 2 and the app. Let's hear from the Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta, who spoke to the media earlier today. And he said the Gunners are embracing the pressure that the title race brings.
But that's what we want. I think when our people are excited and when you see that the team is competing at the level consistently, there are the right reasons to believe, and that's the main thing. If you want to win big trophies, you certainly have to install that feeling amongst the team, the club, and around it. And we're in a really good position at the moment, but we know how early it is and how difficult every game is.
Well, there's an awful lot that's been made of Arsenal's style of play. 11 of their 16 goals scored in the Premier League this season have been scored from set pieces. That's 2 more than any other side in the division. An overall percentage in terms of goals scored of 69%. Jeff Stelling joined Alan McCoist on The Breakfast Show, and he had this to say about Arteta's approach this season.
This is the 4th game they've been involved in this season in 9 Premier League games. It's finished 1-0.
Yep.
Didn't win them all, obviously. And there's a 1-1 in there as well. For me, they've got great players. I love some of the Arsenal players, you know. I love Saka. I love Odegaard when he's playing. You know, I love Eberechi Eze as well. But please be just a bit more expansive. I mean, watching Arsenal against Palace was watching paint dry. It's the classic. It was purgatory.
I have never heard such stuff and nonsense in my entire life. I didn't know football wasn't about winning anymore, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, look, obviously in an ideal world, everyone wants to play this beautiful brand of football and win games, but if you're going to go and win a Premier League, surely it does not matter.
Arsenal can't win, it seems to me. They either play free-flowing football, excite us all, and come up short, and they get slagged off. Arteta tightens things up, brings in this set-piece coach who's got murals all the way down just outside the Emirates Stadium. And now they're getting carpeted for tightening things up. You damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, look, you can't win. Like you say, the way that they were playing previously, everyone said, they bottled it and they need a bit more grit. They do that, they turn it round, and then you say you don't play well enough. So that's why I would never be a manager and sit in that dugout, because it's a thankless task.
The other thing that drives me crazy at the moment is this obsession with long throws, like they're some sort of blight on the game. I've been watching football since the mid-70s, and football always evolves, it always changes, it always finds new ways to do exciting things or do different things. Finding an edge. It's all about marginal gains, isn't it, Courtney?
Yeah, we're all almost not finding new things, but recycling different situations. I grew up in the 90s with, Tony Pulis and Rory Delap and the long throws and the set pieces. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just changing the way and adapting to do things. So, yeah, it's a strange one. I'm hoping 4-4-2 comes back, to be fair, because I used to love watching teams playing a 4-4-2.
It's only a matter of time. That and flared trousers. It's on the way, Courtney. Be prepared for flares. It's great. You can house a family of 4 in there. It's amazing.
There we go. I'm ready. I'll get some in just in case.
So let's hear about Andy Jacobs' view on this, because long throws and direct football very much in fashion. Chelsea fell victim to a Nordi Mukiele long throw in Saturday's defeat. And the manager of Chelsea, Enzo Maresca, has avoided largely utilising long throws. And Andrew Jacobs came on his long run-up on Monday on H&J to have a suggestion for Chelsea's board.
If it was me, I'd fire him today. Yeah, and bring in Tony Pulis.
Really?
Because that's what football is now. Football basically has gone back to the 80s. It's all set plays.
Is it Chelsea's performance you lament, or is it as the game gone?
The game. I think the game, and the fact that Arsenal are top means they're the best at it. They're the best at this sort of crazy gang hybrid 80s football that we've got now.
Right.
And that's what we've got.
You don't have a long throw
even
specialist.
We'll talk about this. No, because this is another reason why I get rid of Maresca. He turns around, he's joking, he said, I don't like long throws, I'm not doing it.
Right, okay.
Well, you're an idiot then, mate, aren't you? Because everybody else is, and they're scoring goals from it. So if you don't realise football's changed, then you're going to have a problem. Because it has changed. It's been going that way for a while, but it's really changed now.
In fairness to Andy Jacobs, he was on with Paul Hawksby this afternoon and said, I sounded like a bit of an idiot yesterday with what I said. So he's calmed himself down a little bit, having come off his supremely long run-up yesterday. But, I mean, a direct style of football. Well, again, I go back, right, I am older than you. But there was a chap called Charles Hughes, who became a bit of a figure of despisement. Worked at the FA when Graham Taylor was England manager. And he talked about this thing called POMO, Position of Maximum Opportunity. And he was of the impression that he'd been an FA coach for many years, and he talked about the fact that you can the most productive way of getting goals was within 3 passes, getting the ball to a goal scoring position. 3 passes. That would usually mean long ball up, knock down, effort on goal sort of thing. So what you were just saying a couple of moments ago, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, is quite right. Things are coming along in cycles.
Well, exactly.
But the difference is that the target men aren't quite there that were there when football was in its early 90s phase.
Yeah, and it's never a coincidence either that when a team is chasing a game, what do? They send it route 1. They send it in 2 or 3 passes. Yeah. So it's as always, it's cycle. So I'm hoping the next cycle is a 4-4-2 and wingers that stay out wide and put balls in and beat defenders, and then I'll be happy.
So 3 games tomorrow from the Carabao Cup as the 4th round continues across the Talksport network. Liverpool versus Crystal Palace is on Talksport at 7:45. Adrian's there. Jim Proudfoot will be your commentator. Arsenal Brighton on Talksport 2. Arsenal against Brighton is Talksport 2. That again is 7:45. Joe Shannon and Scott Minto. And Wolves against Chelsea, the team we've just been talking about there, Chelsea. That is live on the Talksport app. Adam Bridge and Chris Iwelumo will be at Molineux for that game. So we've got 3 live games for you tomorrow night across the network. well, we're ready for the off in the second half here at Adams Park. No changes that I can see from either manager, with Wycombe holding that 1-0 lead from the first half. The groundsmen have just finished putting the forks around various points of the pitch, but the pitch has been in excellent order tonight, and Wycombe are 45 minutes away from round 5 of the League Cup and dispensing with Premier League opposition in doing so. Bobby Madley just checks his watch. Fulham players wearing their all-white strip tonight, Wycombe in the blue halves. As Talksport listeners join us here at Adams Park, the second half about to get underway at Adams Park. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Fulham 0. Wycombe get us underway wearing their blue, dark blue, light blue quarter shirts with dark blue shorts and light blue socks. Fulham, the Premier League outfit, are in all white tonight. I'll run you through the lineup straight away for Wycombe. Norris is the keeper. Grimmer, Taylor, Hagelskier and Allen in a back four. Henderson and Leahy holding in midfield, with Onyedinma, Mullins and Bell behind the goal scorer, former Fulham man Cauley Woodrow. I'll break off for a minute because there's an early long throw about to be sent in by Andres Hagelskier for Wycombe into the Fulham box at the Beechdean Terrace end, away to our right hand side. It's going to be a long throw from the centre half. He gets good trajectory on it. Headed out to the edge of the area, drops for Leahy. Leahy tucks it down the left-hand side of the box for Jamie Mullins. Mullins tries to check inside Kenny and get the shot away. Does it the second time of asking, and it flashes over the crossbar for a goal kick to Fulham, who line up with Benjamin Lecomte in goal. Castagna, Diop, Cuenca and Bassi in a back four. Reed and Kearney holding. Traore, King and Kevin behind Jimenez up front. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is alongside me, Ian Danta at Adams Park. Just summarise that first 45 minutes for our Talksport listeners, Courtney.
I think Wycombe have come out early, got a fantastic goal through Woodrow, but they've not just sat back after that. They've picked and chosen their moments to defend, to sit in, to frustrate Fulham and to go forward, and great value for their first half lead. But I think now we're going to see obviously more impetus from Fulham, seeing Ryan Sessegnon is on the pitch as well, so in terms of getting that attacking threat going forward, putting Bassi back into the centre of the defence is going to be a tough second half for Wycombe, but no, they've shown enough promise to think that, for me, they can get that second goal.
Kevin for Fulham attacking the away and down to our left-hand side, finds Sessegnon, tries to whip the cross in. Onyedinma puts it behind, so a corner won by Fulham with 2 minutes gone in the second half. On Talksport and Talksport 2, we'll keep you updated with what's going on at Blundell Park, with Brentford fully in control of that Carabao Cup tie. Cardiff still a goal up at Wrexham through that early Yusuf Select strike. So Kevin with his right-footed in swinging corner for Fulham, into the near post, turned in superbly by Josh King, flicked it in with the outside of his right boot at his near post, and it's only taken Fulham 2 minutes of the second half to get themselves level. Kevin's corner kick into the near post, and what a clever finish from Josh King to make it 1-1.
Well, we spoke about Fulham, how they're going to attack this second half, how they're going to try and get their impetus players forward, which they've done, and it's a really, really clever finish. The ball in, it's flat, it's got bags of pace on it, and it's a cheeky little flick. What I will say is, though, Wycombe will be so disappointed with that. The way that they've defended is not a big in stature player, King, so the fact that he's not muscled off the ball there and is able to get that half a yard free and just flick it with instinct, they'll be really disappointed, Wycombe.
What a time to get your first goal for Fulham. Josh King in his 23rd appearance makes it 1-1 early in this second half. Let's get an update from the all-Welsh Carabao Cup tie up at the racecourse. Matt Jones.
Yeah, half-time whistle has gone and it is Wrexham 0, Cardiff 1. That goal from Yusuf Selek in the 13th minute, converting after Burton saved Colwell's shot. Enough to give Cardiff the bragging rights at the moment. They've also hit the bar twice as well. Wrexham 0, Cardiff 1.
Rimmer down the right-hand side for Wycombe, trying to keep the ball in play, or is he trying to protect it out for a corner? It's down by the corner flag at the terrace end, and eventually it's defended really well by Kevin coming back to help out, who put it out off the Wycombe winger, and it ends up being a throw to Fulham. So 1-1 here on Talksport and Talksport 2. Josh King equalising the academy lad who made his Premier League debut last December against Brighton. But the 18-year-old bringing the Cottagers level for the perfect start. They'll have had a flea in their ear from Marco Silva at the bait, that's for certain, isn't it, Courtney?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt. And there were elements where they played well, though, Fulham, but it was about being more clinical and showing their Premier League quality.
Onyedinma down the right-hand side up against Bassi, tries to turn in field. Good defending from Bassi, and Sessegnon's back there to help him out. Plays it into his own penalty area, and Reed will find Lecomte, the goalkeeper, and he plays a short pass just outside of his area for Tom Kearney, one of the 7 changes made for kick-off tonight by Marco Silva. Kearney into the centre circle, faced up by Cauley Woodrow, who scored Wycombe's early strike, and it was a thunderbolt of a strike too. King, who's just brought Fulham level, feeds it back to Sessegnon, who came on for Cuenca at the break to allow Bassi to move from left back into centre half. But he'd done pretty well at left back up against Fred Onyedinma in that first half, Calvin Bassi, after what was a difficult afternoon at Newcastle. Lovely turn from King, midway point of the Wycombe half. Traore gets just inside the area and slips at the unfortunate moment, but gets to his feet and keeps possession. But in the end, he's dispossessed by a combination of Leahy and Henderson. And then Taylor Allen drives it downfield, and Woodrow is pushed by Calvin Bassi. No, says Bobby Madley, the referee. Play on, and Woodrow just looks up imploringly at the referee, and he's going to get absolutely nothing out of him. Reed plays a short pass into midfield. It doesn't quite come off for Fulham, and Reed has to go back into his own half to retrieve the ball. 1-1.
It's going to be a real test for Wycombe now in terms of Fulham. You can hear the fans to our left-hand side. That quality is now starting to shine through, and Sessegnon coming on that left-hand side as well. It's certainly more of an attacking threat, and there will be then more of an opportunity maybe for Onyedinma to get up and be brave on that right-hand side. But it's definitely a change that's brought more attacking impetus to Fulham.
Those 1,800 Fulham fans were booing not 20 minutes ago when the players left the field. Ball's not back to Taylor, the centre-half for Wycombe. Brought away by Jamie Mullins through the centre of midfield. Dispossessed by Reed. Now Sessegnon finds Adama Traore. Right-hand corner of the area. Steps inside Allen. Puts it across the face of goal. Kearney tries to bulldoze his way through in front of goal, but it's half cleared. Comes back out to Castagna to the far post. Up goes Sessegnon, but it's defended by Grimmer. Another Fulham corner. They scored from the last one. 1-1.
Well, I think Traore there gets caught in two minds. When he cuts in on his left foot, I think he can try and shoot. Try and swing that left boot at it towards goal. Get a good strike behind it, but in the end they get something from it, Fulham.
Goal at Pride Park in the England women's friendly. Joe Shannon.
England 3, Australia 0. Georgia Stanway from the spot with virtually the last kick sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. England 3, Australia 0.
Good night for England after the disappointment against Brazil, and Lucy Bronze scoring on her birthday, Courtney, you were telling me.
Yeah, there you go, 34 years young.
It's all coming up roses for Lucy at the minute, winning awards and getting goals on her birthday. So a corner for Fulham at the away end, away to our left-hand side. Kevin took the last one, which is where King scored from, but he's going to leave this one for Harrison Reed. There's been a bit of a delay because there's a Wycombe player, I think it's Taylor Allen, down on his 6-yard line, requiring some treatment. But it's the Fulham fans you can hear away to our left-hand side who are heartened by the start that their side have made. Only one change made, so Marco Silva hasn't quite called for the cavalry yet from the bench, because the likes of Sanderberger, Alex Iwobi and Sasa Lukic are available to him as the game progresses. Let's get off to Blundell Park. What's happening there, Jim Proudfoot?
Well, there's a penalty to Brentford. Carvalho has been brought down 8 minutes into the second half, and he's dusted himself down. He's about to take the penalty himself to give Brentford a 4-0 lead here at Grimsby. Carvalho up against Christy Pym. Carvalho standing motionless on the edge of the penalty area, addresses the ball now, hits it right-footed. Great penalty into the bottom left-hand corner. Grimsby 0, Brentford 4.
Carvalho, who was outstanding as a Fulham player when they won promotion to the Premier League, unplayable at times as a Championship player. The corner kick is on the way for the current Fulham side here at Adams Park. 1-1 the score. We'll check in with the full-time score from Pride Park in just a moment. Short corner from Reed finds Kevin, who darts in from this near touchline, rolls it back to the edge of the area. The drive from Kearney tipped over for a corner by Norris. Let's get that full-time story from Pride Park. Joe Shannon.
England 3, Australia 0. Beaver Jones bronze and a late Stanway penalty for England, who lost Adjamang and Beaver Jones to injury late on. Kennedy sent off for Australia. England 3, Australia 0.
News for Chelsea losing Aggie Beaver-Jones late on. Let's hope that's not too serious an injury for her. 1-1 here at Adams Park in the Carabao Cup on Talksport and Talksport 2. Fulham only taking a couple of minutes to get themselves back level through Josh King after Cauley Woodrow had given Fulham the lead. A corner kick for Fulham where the Frank Adams stand meets the away end over on the far side of the field from us. Harrison Reed again to take. Right-footed outswinger to come from him. Jogs up to the ball, hits it into Jimenez at the near post, who volleys it wide. It was probably a yard or two wide, but he wrapped his foot around it well enough. Ends up just being a goal kick to Wycombe. 1-1.
And it's good little movement across the front post by Jimenez. I also think I was Cauley Woodrow and Diop. And for me, Woodrow was too far away. He's given Diop 5 yards, gets the run on him and is free in the box. Luckily, the ball doesn't drop anywhere near Diop, but I think that's something that needs to be looked at as well going forward.
I don't think Taylor Allen's going to be able to continue here. He was the one that was getting treatment about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and he's back down on his haunches once again. He stood up inside the centre circle, but the referee Bobby Madley's right next to him, and I think he's saying, "Have you had enough, son?" And it will be the end of his night. So it's going to be a straight change. Daniel Harvey is going to come on to replace Taylor Allen. He was one of the players that was taken out of the starting lineup from the win against Huddersfield here on Saturday. Daniel Harvey, who joined from nearby Milton Keynes last year. This will be his 50th appearance for Wycombe Wanderers tonight, and he has scored already this season coming forward from left back. So whilst that substitution is being made, a reminder of the scores elsewhere in League One. Bradford and Lincoln still locked at 0-0. Mansfield, through that Will Evans goal, still lead Plymouth. Accrington still lead Tranmere in the 1 League 2 game tonight. And as you just heard from Jim, Brentford 4-0 up at Grimsby. Cardiff at half-time 1-0 up in the 8 o'clock kickoff at Wrexham. So the ball cleared downfield by Will Norris. The change has been made and Harvey is on at left back. Taylor heads the ball downfield, but it'll just bounce through to Benjamin Lecomte, and he will allow Calvin Bassey to take over. 1-1 the score. We played 56.5 minutes on Talksport and Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup, with 3 more Carabao Cup ties tomorrow night across the network. Talksport, Talksport 2 and the app. Liverpool Crystal Palace on Talksport, Arsenal Brighton Talksport 2, Wolves Chelsea on the app. Here's Fred Onyedinma pushing into the back of Harrison Reed as he tried to get away down the right hand side. Onyedinma, Michael Duff not happy with that decision going against Wycombe. Free kick taken quickly by Sessegnon, the half-time substitute. Reed, who really is at the centre of everything as Fulham try and build from the back, isn't he? He's the linchpin, Courtney Sweetman.
Yeah, and where Leahy was managing to get close to him and force him backwards, not having influence on the game in the first half, that certainly changed. And after that goal, Wycombe dropping deeper and deeper and struggling to keep up physically with the Premier League side.
Here's Diop, just over the halfway line for Fulham. Plays the ball into the feet of Kearney. Has to give it back to Diop under pressure from Leahy. And Diop just directing operations. Plays the ball back into the centre circle for Reed, who split the 2 centre-halves. Bassey plays a lovely neat ball out to this left-hand touchline for Kevin, who's going to have a run at Grimmer. Gets to the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Clips in a right-footed ball. Leahy defended it well. Headed it back out to Kevin, who rolls his foot on the ball a couple of times. Down towards the dead ball line. Grimmer still staying on his feet watching him. It's rolled back to Bassey, who'll tease the ball into the box. Up go the heads. Punch cleared by Norris, but it won't drop for a Fulham player. And Grimmer just puts it downfield as far as he can. 1-1.
I think it's Josh King again, isn't it, that's in and about, nearly, maybe even does get a little bit of a skim off the top of his head, but not enough to direct it towards goal. But it's incessant pressure now from Fulham. It's wave after wave.
And you and I were watching Calvin Bassey in the warm-up before the kick-off, putting a number of balls in for the left-hand side because he was going to be playing at left back. Now Josh King has just cleaned out Jamie Mullins. He's going to get a yellow card because that was a counter-attack that had been launched by the Wycombe midfield. A chance of off around us. It's not denying a clear goal scoring opportunity, nor is necessarily all that reckless, but it was a yellow card. Fairly easy one for Bobby Madley to issue there. 1-1.
Yeah, it is, but actually I think almost the way that Bobby Madley has refereed this game, it's almost bringing up those occasions because he's let so much go. And yes, he's been consistent, and I don't mind that, but it's been, for me, far over the threshold of what should be given and what shouldn't in terms of free kicks, and it has descended at times into a little bit of chaos with some of the challenges that are being made. So, not surprised we've seen a challenge like that, to be honest.
Yellow card issued to Josh King, and Wycombe will have themselves a free kick just over the halfway line as we approach the hour mark here at Adams Park on Talksport 2. Don't forget, Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy taking your calls on the sports bar straight after our Carabao Cup action. 03717 22 33 44. I would imagine Jason would have been researching anybody to do with Fulham at half time, but that's changed. At least it has for the moment. Has anyone seen? Might have to go in a different direction if he's going to do one. Free kick. It's going to be between Leahy and Henderson to send this downfield for Wycombe. It's just to the right of centre. Henderson will hit a diagonal ball out to the left-hand corner of the box. Grimmer gets his head to it, but won't find a teammate. Volley clear for Fulham, and King picks it up inside his own half. He's going to be the pantomime villain now after that challenge. Gets up to halfway and plays a lovely ball across halfway to Kevin, who's got acres of space to gallop into down the Fulham left. Cuts infield to the edge of the area, fires it goalwards, and Norris tips it over for yet another Fulham corner away to our left. One apiece.
It just feels like any moment now that net's going to ripple again and Fulham are going to take the lead. They look so dynamic in the attack, and where it was quite laboured in the first half at times, every time they go forward they look so dangerous.
The thoughts of Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Liverpool women's striker, alongside me, Ian Danter, here at Adams Park. Reid with this latest corner on the hour for Fulham at 1-1 in the Carabao Cup fourth round here on Talksport and Talksport 2. Right-footed in-swinger from Reid to around the 6-yard line, volleyed away by Connor Taylor. But Kearney's going to go all the way back to the halfway line to retrieve it and clips it back to his goalkeeper Lecomte, who's midway point of his own half. Given back to Kearney, just shy of the halfway line, tries to feed it down the inside right channel for Traoré, headed in field, dealt with well by the Wycombe back line, and Leahy knocks it down for the substitute Daniel Harvey. But his chip ball down the left hand side evades Sam Bell. It's well ahead of the Bristol City loanee, and Fulham can tidy up one apiece. Cross it goes to Bassey, brings the ball up to the halfway line. Kevin, stationed on this left-hand touchline, receives it now. First time ball in field for Sessegnon. Quick 1 and 2 touch passing, but Jimenez loses out, and Mullins, who was just cleaned out by King a moment ago, finds Onyedinma Dimmer on halfway. Early ball, trying to get Bell away. Down the left-hand side, he's onside. Gets up to the edge of the area. Good foot in from Castagna. And then Wycombe make a mess of the second ball. It just goes out of play. Well, it's kept in play by Lecomte. And Fulham can build again from the back. 1-1 on 62 minutes.
Well, if Wycombe are going to get back into this game, that's where they can profit. The fact that Sessegnon's getting really high, and at times it almost looks like a back three. So when it goes down the right-hand side, Wycombe's right, Bassey has to come across. So it's either, can you go 1v1 with him, or can you find the space on the opposite side of the pitch like they did there, Wycombe, because they're outnumbered, Fulham.
Onyedinma brings down Raul Jimenez down this left-hand side, right in front of our commentary position. We're only about 10 rows back from pitch level here at Adams Park. Kearney works it out to Kevin on this near side, the Fulham left, attacking Jack Grimmer, gets up to the edge of the penalty area, steps inside him, angles tight, tries a drive, and Taylor blocks it out of play for a throw-in just down to our left. 1-1.
Gets caught underneath his feet, does the first bit right in terms of taking on Grimmer, faces him up half a yard, cuts inside with that right foot, but then just doesn't quite get the touch right, and then it's under his feet and he almost chips it because he can't get the power.
Hasn't scored yet for Fulham, Kevin, since his move from Shakhtar in September. Reid works the ball back to Diop inside the centre circle as Fulham try and spread play from left to right. Kearney tries to chip it out to the left-hand side, but Bell intercepts in front of Adama Traoré, and then he outpaces Kearney on the left-hand side, bringing it forward. Sam Bell tried to toe-poke it through for the run of Woodrow, but there were enough Fulham players back to get in the way of it, and the Premier League side are back in possession, 1-1.
Yeah, but there are chances for Wycombe, and whether it be the quick movement on the counter-attack or trying to switch the play, because Fulham are committing more bodies forward, that's only going to be natural. It's just about being more clinical when they get there, Wycombe.
Bassey for the Cottagers plays it into the feet of Reid at the edge of the centre circle. Ball over the halfway line along the deck Well found by Jimenez, turn around the corner by Castagna to Traore, right hand corner of the penalty area, faced up by Harvey, plays it back to Jimenez, on the edge of the area, tries to twist and turn, make room for a shot, feeds it to Kevin, who lofts it over the bar on the half volley and thumps the turf in frustration as he turns away. It's another goal kick to Wycombe Wanderers. It's still 1-1 between League One and Premier League here on Talksport and Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup.
It's a frustrating one for Kevin, because I get why he goes for that choice of shot, because he's got too many players in front of him. So to strike it, he's probably thinking, if I strike this, it's going to get deflected, straight out, and they're going to have to start building again. So he's just trying to chip it over everyone, because the goalkeeper as well, Norris, has come over to his sort of front post area, so he's trying to chip it in the back post where he sees a space, but just can't execute it right.
Change being made by Marco Silva, bringing off Tom Kearney and bringing on Alex Iwobi. That's a sign of where this particular game has been going. So Iwobi on. It actually said on the big Jumbotron stream that Lyndon Gooch was coming on. I didn't know he was a Fulham player.
Transfer news breaking.
What sort of parallel universe am I suddenly living in? By the way, don't forget Talksport breakfast back tomorrow from 6 a.m. That should be fun. I'll bet Ali McCoist will be poking Alan Brazil with sticks about all things happening with Celtic. Make sure you tuned in for that from 6 a.m. in the morning for the boys on Talksport breakfast, with a host of guests joining them from 6 through till 10. But if you want a musical way to start your day, Chris Evans has the Virgin Breakfast Show from 6:30 at the same time. So Wycombe 1, Fulham 1, 25 minutes to go. As things stand, we're destined for a penalty shootout here at Adams Park to see who goes through to round 5. But Andres Hagelskier, who's already sent one particularly threatening looking long throw into the box from the Wycombe right, is now on the far left hand side, drying the ball on his blue jersey to hurl this into the Fulham penalty area. In it comes from the centre half, flicked on inadvertently to Grimmer, trying to get a shot on goal. Onyedinma turns, tries to get the shot away, blocked by the knee of Alex Iwobi, back defending. It's a throw in on this right hand side now for Wycombe. 1-1.
And the long throws are working, so keep doing it. The set piece opportunities are going to be invaluable for Wycombe in the second half.
The long throw police will be after them.
You can't score goals like that, it's boring.
Yeah, it's not allowed apparently. So Hagelskier has indeed come across to this near side, the right. This is level with the 18-yard line on this near side, with Wycombe attacking the terrace end away to our right in this second half, standing right against the advertising hoardings. Now Hagelskier hurls it into the 6-yard line, nodded down by Taylor, and Calvin Bassey almost got in the way of his goalkeeper, but then his goalkeeper Lecomte said get out of the way, and he just clutched hold of it, and it stays 1 apiece in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, and I think it was Sam Bell actually as well that was in and around, looking like he might be able to get a tap in for himself, but Fulham live to fight another day from the long throw.
In League One, still Bradford 0, Lincoln 0, and Mansfield 1, Plymouth 0, and Accrington still leading Tranmere by a goal to 0. And Wycombe are going to make a change, and the goal scorer Corley Woodrow is going to make way. He'll have enjoyed that, scoring against his old club tonight, and Donnell McNeely is coming on to replace him, and it's a double change for Wycombe Wanderers. They're just sorting out the numbers, because eventually Keelan Boyd Muntz is going to be on, and whilst we'll wait for him to come on, let's check in with what's happening at Blundell Park in the Carabao Cup with Jim Proudfoot.
Grimsby 0, Brentford 4, midway through the second half. A raft of changes, but not chances since the Carvalho penalty. Grimsby have made 4, Brentford have 2. Colin Shada-Yano and Ramel Donovan on for a debut. The Mariners have had the best chance since you were last here, a header wide from Cabia. Still, Grimsby 0, Brentford 4.
Let's check in early in the second half at the Racecourse Ground in the Carabao Cup with Talksport's Matt Jones.
Yeah, only 6 minutes gone since the break. It's still Wrexham 0, Cardiff 1, and continuing in the same fashion as the first half, with Cardiff dominating. Wintle has just been teed up by Colwell and smacked narrowly over. Wrexham 0, Cardiff 1.
We're understanding that Robbie Keane, who is a contender for the vacant Celtic manager's position, he's currently in charge of Ferencváros in Hungary, is Robbie Keane, the former Republic of Ireland international. You heard Martin O'Neill chatting with Jim White this morning as he takes interim charge. Here's Kevin for Fulham, into the dead ball and playing it into the near post, but Grimmer defended it well. Adama Traore herring after the loose ball down the Fulham right, keeps it in play down by the dead ball line, just nutmegs Sam Bell to play it into the area, but anywhere will do for Wycombe, and they get it clear. Tranmere equalise at Accrington in League 2. Charlie Whittaker makes it Accrington 1, Tranmere 1 in the 1 League 2 game this evening. The only goal we've got in League 1 tonight is Mansfield's goal in their game. Still Lincoln and Bradford high up the table, locked at 0-0. It's 1-1 here at Adams Park on a mild late October evening. And the deadlock, the second goal rather, has gone in at the Racefield Ground. Which way's it gone, Matt Jones?
Well, it's 1-1 here as well. Wrexham 1, Cardiff 1. Wrexham equalising against the runner play. A cross coming in from the left-hand side. It takes a massive deflection and loops up for Kiefer Moore, who scores with a towering header. Wrexham 1, Cardiff 1.
Oh, a decent run, Wrexham. Only 1 defeat in 9. So, holding their own there against lower league opposition in Cardiff City, who had the lead. So yes, Robbie Keane apparently a contender for the vacant position at Celtic. It's great to hear Martin O'Neill chatting with Jim White and Steve Bruce and Alex Crook on Talksport this morning as he prepared to jet off to Glasgow. And he was doing a press conference by tea time.
Saying how he had to pick himself up off the floor, didn't he, when he got the call?
Having presented on Talksport yesterday morning and then finding out when he gets home he's got to hot-foot it up north of the border. This game's crackers, isn't it, sometimes?
That's why we love it.
It is. 20 minutes to go in the Carabao Cup here at Adams Park. Penalties are starting to loom. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Fulham 1, and Fulham are making another change, and Sasa Lukic is going to come on at the base of midfield to replace Harrison Reed, who's been a real busybody tonight at the base of that Fulham midfield, but Lukic just as combative coming on in his place.
Yeah, surprised at that one, because I mean, you're right, Sasa Lukic is a fantastic player, so nothing against him coming on, but I just think, you know, in terms of from a Fulham perspective, he's probably been the best player for them, Harrison Reed.
Grimmer, former Fulham man, brings it down for Wycombe, down their right hand side as they attack the terrace end, kept in play by Onyedinma, down towards the corner flag, forces Sessegnon to get a foot in, goes out for a throw, could be another long throw coming in. Grimmer was preparing to take it, but Hegelskier said, nope, that's mine. And he's going to grab a fresh, clean football from one of the cones for the multi-ball system around the pitch here at Adams Park. Away to our right-hand side, this throw for Wycombe at the terrace end, in front of that packed set of vociferous home support. It's actually thrown in short, given back to Hegelskier by Henderson. He now puts a deep ball to the far post, headed down by Onyedinma. It was a great header down in front of goal, but nobody there in a Wycombe shirt to tuck it away. 1-1.
Yeah, towers over everyone, doesn't he, Onyedinma? Gets a great connection on the ball, but just aching for a teammate to tap that in.
Cleared downfield, flicked on by McNeely, just on as a substitute himself, but Fulham have it back. Kevin, whose corner led to the equaliser, trying to find Ryan Sessegnon, but Connor Taylor deals with that, protecting the ball from the Fulham substitute and clears downfield, stays in play. Kevin left it thinking it was almost certainly going out for a throw, but then Onyedinma hadn't given up on it. McNeely, just inside the Fulham half, finds Onyedinma well, now trying to burst away from Diop. Good defending by Essa Diop, got himself between man and ball, drew the foul. Free kick for Fulham. A reminder, Saturday, Talksport's bringing in more live boxing. We had Fabio Wardley, Joshua Parker last Saturday with that dramatic ending with the stoppage. Now Joshua Buatsi faces Zach Parker for the WBO International Light Heavyweight title at the Co-op Arena in Manchester, right next to the Etihad. That's from 7:30 on the Talksport network this coming Saturday. Buatsi against Parker. We are your home of boxing here on the Talksport network. Here is Calvin Bassey. Fires it across to Issa Diop for Fulham. 1-1 the score in the Carabao Cup. 17 minutes of normal time remaining. There is no extra time. It will go straight to a penalty shootout here if things stay as they are. Kevin looking for a diagonal ball sent across to him, but Jack Grimmer heads it out of play. Will be a throw. Iwobi just takes the ball from right underneath our commentary position, but he won't be able to take the throw because there's going to be a change. Jonah Kusi Asare, just 18 years of age, who's on loan at Fulham from Bayern Munich, got a minute at Newcastle United at at the weekend. Tall, rangy striker, and he's on for a slightly frustrated looking Raul Jimenez being taken off with just over a quarter of an hour to go.
Yeah, because he'll probably feel that he's not had the service tonight from his teammates, but I do think that's the right decision. Needs a little bit of fresh blood in that forward area.
Let's see what Kusiasari is made of. Going to get an awful lot more time than he got at St James's Park on Saturday. Sam Bell in possession meantime for Wycombe inside his own half. Plays a diagonal ball looking for Onyedinma, who's trying to get in behind Sessegnon. It's only half cleared by Sessegnon. Henderson darting down the right hand side of the area, across the face of goal, well claimed by Lecomte in front of goal in his 6-yard box. McNeely was trying to run across the face of goal, but it went straight into the goalkeeper's arms. There's a goal in the Carabao Cup. Things gone in at Blundell Park. Jim Proudfoot.
15 to go, Grimsby 0, Brentford 5. It's Nathan Collins who's come off the bench, the Bees captain. First Bees corner of the second half, floated in towards the near post. Collins attacked it, powered his header into the bottom right-hand corner. Grimsby 0, Brentford 5.
Jim Proudfoot is there for tonight's designated goal pig on Talksport. 15 minutes to go. 1-1 here at Adams Park. League One Wycombe holding their own, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, against the Premier League opponents.
Yeah, and again, yes, there's been moments where they've had to sit in and soak up pressure, but you've seen there when they get down the right-hand side and it was Henderson that broke forward, they're still getting into the box and creating opportunities, so they'll more than feel that they're still in this game.
But Kevin, very lively down the Fulham left, tucks the ball in field. It actually hits the chest of Connor Taylor. Leahy dispossessed. Here's Sasalukic finding Kusiasari inside the area. It's cleared away, but the flag went up for a foul. A push on Jack Grimmer by the Fulham substitute. Just eases the pressure valve a little bit at the back for the Chairboys. They get a free kick. It's still 1-1 on Talksport.
Yeah, and Leahy gets dispossessed there, straight under the referee's nose, and they see it from here. I think it was more in hope than expectation. He looks at the referee, and it's lucky that it comes to nothing really, but getting to a point where sort of 14 minutes left, it's end to end, and there's definitely another goal in it, but actually the moments that Wycombe have gone forward on the counter-attack, it could be at either end.
Could be 16 minutes to go if he adds on a couple.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's what you were thinking.
Maths never was my strong point, Dance.
Maths was never my forte either. Sorry, forte. Down the left-hand side comes Kusiasari, the substitute, trying to show his pace, but Taylor does really well, the centre-half of Wycombe, gets goal side, calmly tucks the ball back to his keeper who clears his lines.
Yeah, it's good positioning by Taylor, takes the shortest distance, the inside channel.
Now McNeely wrestled to the ground by Bassey. Although, again, Bobby Madley lets it go. He's happy for that not to be a foul. Iwobi, quick feet to keep the ball away from Onyedinma. Drifts away down the left-hand side for Fulham, only just inside the Wycombe half, and has to play the ball back into the centre circle for Issa Diop. Seconds tick away here in Buckinghamshire. 1-1 the score. Poor pass from Lukic, picked off in midfield by Keelan Boyd-Muntz, and he's fouled by Lukic, and the Wycombe substitute gets a free kick. 1-1.
Yeah, the ironic cheers as well from the home fans. I don't think they feel like they've got the rub of the green tonight with the refereeing decisions.
Well, the referee's giving his whistle the night off for a lot of the time, Bobby Madley.
Yeah, to be fair, like I say, he's been consistent. I don't necessarily agree with some of the decisions, but you can't say he's not been consistent.
I kind of see what you mean. Daniel Harvey with the free kick for Wycombe, diagonally left to right, trying to pick out the head of Onyedinma. Heads it infield well, but there's nobody there in a Wycombe shirt, at least initially. Poor clearance from Fulham. Onyedinma onto the loose ball. Now it's played back to Henderson. First time ball, looking to get Grimmer away down the right-hand side of the box, but Fulham intercept. Iwobi now brings it away down the left-hand side, forced back in field by Leahy, gives it back to Diop, midway point of his own half. It's a Diop. Gets his head up, plays it across to his fellow centre-half, Calvin Bassey, who can bring the ball up to halfway without being pressed. We were talking about this in the first half, that there are certain Fulham players who are pressed the moment they get on the ball, others who are allowed to carry the ball almost as far forward as they want. Bassey being one example. Boyd-Muntz clears for Wycombe down to halfway. Diop calmly onto the loose ball and tucks it back to Benjamin Lecomte, getting another appearance in the EFL Cup tonight. Bernd Leno hasn't played in the EFL Cup this season for Fulham. Bassey finds Sessegnon, who came on at half-time. Kevin on this near touchline, faced up by Grimmer. He's trying to show him down the outside, but Kevin just Jinks inside for a moment, then lays it off to Alex Iwobi, up to the edge of the area. King with a turn, gets the shot away, but gets underneath it. It's a goal kick to Wycombe, away to our left-hand side. The man that scored the equaliser couldn't double his tally.
He's off balance on the turn, and the initial bit he does right, low centre of gravity, gets the turn, but then as soon as he takes a shot, you see he's off balance, he's leaning back, and the ball flies over the bar.
That's the voice of Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me, Ian Danter. Sports Bar coming up straight after this with Jamie and Jason. 03717 2233 44. Plenty to talk about. Carabao Cup, Celtic, long throws, you name it. They'll talk about it with you if you give them the call tonight on the Sports Bar straight after we're done here. Whether it takes us a penalty shootout to get to that point or not, because that's what we're heading for as things stand. With just over 10 minutes of normal time to play. Wycombe 1, Fulham 1 on Talksport and Talksport 2 in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Fulham who've never won the competition. Wycombe who got to the semi-finals nearly 20 years ago, losing heavily to Chelsea on aggregate when they got to the last 4. 5-1 was the aggregate score. Matt Bloomfield was a player in those days before he became subsequently Wycombe's manager until recently. Here's Kevin for Fulham, down the left-hand side again for the visitors. Plays the ball back for Iwobi, 25 yards out, faced up by Henderson. Rolls it across to Diop in the centre of the Wycombe half. Urged to shoot by 1 or 2 behind the goal away to our left. Works it out to Adama Traore. Whips a left-footed centre in. It's just missed by Kuzi Azari. And the goalkeeper Norris watched as it drifted a good 2 or 3 yards beyond his far post. It's a goal kick to the hosts, 1-1.
Yeah, it's a good ball that's whipped in, but it's just a bit of an awkward height for Kuzi Azari. He can't quite go for the dive-in header. It's not, an easy one just to plant with the side of his foot, so he has to sort of fly through the air with his foot out, hoping that he gets a connection on it, but can't quite get there.
Early goals in both halves means it's 1-1 here. Corley Woodrow, the former Fulham striker, with a wicked strike inside 5 minutes to put Wycombe in front. But Josh King very cleverly and deftly equalising from a corner kick to get Fulham level right at the start of the second. That's how we stand with 9 minutes of normal time to go on Talksport. Adama Traore keeps the ball in play on the right side. Well, he did, and then he slipped again. He slipped a few times tonight, Adama Traore, and thumps the turf in frustration, having given away a throw to Wycombe, 1-1.
And I don't know whether it's the footwear that he's got on. I mean, he has obviously had the opportunity at half-time to change it, but that was the right idea from Fulham. Big raking ball out to the right-hand side. He's in acres of space. I think Agoskier wanted the offside flag, but we were pretty much in line with it. It was certainly onside, Traore.
One of the fellow members of the press brought in a pair of boots to the press room that were 1940s era. They had steel toe caps. You're not going to do your metatarsal wearing those, are you?
Absolutely not.
And the studs had nails in them. Don't fancy a pair? No?
No, not for me.
OK. Traore, right-hand side for Fulham at 1-1. Faced up by Harvey and by Bell. Tries to go beyond Harvey. Gets the cross in to the far post. It's headed out by Taylor as far as Sessegnon, 30 yards from goal. Finds Kevin, left-hand corner of the box, tries to get on his right and send it goalwards. It's blocked at source by Grimmer. And so it's knocked back to Iwobi, down the left-hand side of the area, well found by Bassi. Right body ball to the far post, headed out by Taylor. Traore tries to bring the ball down, and he's dispossessed by Boyd Muntz as he was trying to sort his feet out, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, again, more indecision from him. He's got the opportunity to get it out his feet and shoot. I think Josh King was about 5 yards away on the edge of the 18-yard box, middle of the goal, perfect position to give him the ball. But again, this is why Traore can be so frustrating, because he's got all the tools, but his decision-making at times is lacking.
1-1, Diop for Fulham in possession, 30 yards inside Wycombe territory. It's played across to Calvin Bassi, who works it out to this left-hand side for Kevin, up against Grimmer once more. This time the ball in field to Iwobi, given back to Kevin, who just chips it into the area. Castagna lets it go, thinking that Traore was making a run behind him, but no, Traore was caught on his heels, and it just ends up being a Wycombe goal kick, and they'll take their time, Wycombe, I believe, in getting this back into play. 1-1.
Yeah, they will, and you see Leahy is telling everyone to calm down, but geeing everyone up at the same time. He knows that these moments are crucial. There'll be one chance in the game still, there's no doubt about that.
So Will Norris, as I mentioned, taking his time just to spot the ball down on his 6-yard line. Came in for the last 4 league games, did Will Norris. Got 2 clean sheets in that time. Clears it left-footed downfield for Wycombe. Onyedinma is the target. Manages to head the ball down. McNeil has gone down off the ball after a challenge with Bassey, but Bassey's telling the ref that was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, and Bobby Madley agrees as Mansfield go 2-0 up on Plymouth. Jordan Bowery with the second for the Stags on a decent run under Nigel Clough at this point in the season, and Plymouth just starting to struggle a little bit. It's going to be 3 defeats on the spin for Tom Cleverley as things stand. 1-1 here in the Carabao Cup with 6 minutes to go on Talksport and Talksport 2. Can Premier League Fulham get their noses in front, or are we destined for penalties? Here is Alex Iwobi taking the ball at pace, midway point of the Wycombe half, twisting and turning, looking for an option. Kevin is that option, down the left-hand side of the box, up against Grimmer once more, tries to go on his outside for once, then checks back onto his right, and Grimmer stayed with him, stayed on his feet and concedes a throw. He's never tried to go on the outside of Grimmer once, he's always tried to come inside, Kevin, hasn't he, Courtney Sweetman?
Yeah, and he's one of those direct players because he wants to cut in on his right foot and take the shot, but I'm thinking, you're right, can you go on the outside of Grimmer, just flash one across the 6-yard box and hope for the best? Might be your teammate there, might come off a defender, but I think you need to have that adaptability and put the indecision in the mind of Grimmer, but Grimmer knows every time he's going inside.
Ball played into the Wycombe box, but no danger for the back line. I guess he's given Marco Silva something to think about because his only starts have been in the Carabao Cup, Kevin. But he must be getting close to giving the manager a decision to make about whether he starts him in the Premier League, Courtney.
Yeah, of course, you would hope so, but it's potentially those moments where Marco Silva's looking at it and thinking, right, you do well against Grimmer in some occasions, but you're not recognising the fact that you're not going on the outside, and you can't spoon feed players everything. There's got to be that decision and game management by the individuals as well, and maybe that is a reason why.
Less than 5 minutes to play on Talksport and Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup. Brentford away and clear, 5-0 up at Grimsby. That's why we're here at Adams Park, where it's locked at 1-1 between League One Wycombe and Premier League Fulham. Penalties are looming larger and larger unless something dramatic happens, and it could quite conceivably happen. Alex Iwobi on the halfway line, plays it left to right for Diop. Josh King, who's dropped a bit deeper for the moment for Fulham. The man that scored the equaliser, Calvin Bassey, gets his head up as he moves inside Wycombe territory with the ball at his feet. Plays a 1-2 with Sessegnon, and then plays a square ball once again for Issa Diop. Wycombe have got everybody back behind the ball in their own defensive third. Turn around the corner by King, looking for Castagna. Gives it back to King. Drifts into the area, right-hand side. Troyer on the overlap. First time ball in, good cross. Where's he going to drop on the 6-yard line? And Henderson at the back. Toe poked the ball clear when Iwobi was lurking.
And there's just so many bodies. It's so difficult there for Fulham to get a meaningful touch towards goal.
Here's Iwobi again, left-hand corner of the penalty area. Holds off on Onyedinma. Kevin, lovely right-footed ball in, headed up in the air by Leahy. Should be the keeper's Norris, and is. And he does the Jordan Pickford crunch and roll and lands with the ball at his chest. 1-1 it stays on Talksport and Talksport 2. 3 minutes to go.
I have to say, I think Wycombe have showed fantastic character. They concede that goal early in the second half.
As Kevin makes a run, onside down the left-hand side of the area. Grimmer can't keep with him. Steps inside, shot is saved! Right in front of goal by Norris. Kevin holds his hands on top of his head. He thinks he should have done better. 1-1.
Yeah, or again, can you go on the outside? Can you drive it across the box where all your teammates are converging?
As Wycombe win the ball back, midway point of their own half, but then a poor pass from Leahy. Just ricochets away from Onyedinma. Goal at Wrexham in the Carabao Cup. Matt Jones.
Cardiff are back in front. Wrexham 1, Cardiff 2. It's a deep cross to the back post. It's met by Will Fish, the defender, who meets it with the sweetest of volleys, and it can't be kept out by Burton, who simply diverts it into the near side netting. Wrexham 1, Cardiff 2.
And it's still Wycombe 1, Fulham 1 here on Talksport at Adams Park. But Josh King just had a half chance for Fulham on the turn, let the ball run across his body right-hand side, but his low daisy cutter shot about a yard wide, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, I think he should do better. The first bit is lovely to watch, the way that he gets that low centre of gravity, shields the ball on the turn, brings it with him, and when he shoots across goal, he's doing the right thing. You want to try and find that far post, but has to at least hit the target, work the goalkeeper.
Wycombe 1, Fulham 1. A minute and a half of normal time to play, plus whatever Bobby Madley wants to add on for stoppages and substitutions in this second period. Ball flicked on by McNeely. Kept in play on this near touchline by Henderson, just inside the Fulham half of the field. Onyedinma trying to help him out, but Sessegnon retrieves it for Fulham. Lukic is fouled by Leahy, who almost had an absolute go at the referee and then decided better of it, and decided to plead a bit of clemency and got away without a yellow card, Courtney.
Yeah, exactly. Just managed to, you could see, when the cogs are working, it's like, I need to stop my mouth moving here.
Diop brings it forward for Fulham. Is there to be late drama and a late winner in normal time, or are we destined for penalties? Iwobi for Fulham. Plays it to the edge of the area. King with his back to goal. Tries to find a teammate. It's toe poked away by Hagelskier. McNeely tries to bring it further forward for Wycombe. Runs into Bassi, who's won it back. Lukic pokes it forward to Iwobi. Out to Traore. Into the area, right hand side. Iwobi with a shot. Blocked away. And it's out of play for a Fulham throw on the far right hand side. Do they have a long throw specialist? As McNeely gets a yellow card for that earlier challenge on Bassi.
It looks like Sessegnon might be trotting across to take it, but this is messy. It's chaos at the end of the game. There's just bodies everywhere. It's so hard to come up with a coherent attack. It's just about Fulham getting forward, getting the ball forward, getting bodies there.
And we're into 5 minutes of minimum stoppage time here on Talksport and Talksport 2. A roar goes up around the stadium from all sides. Everyone thinks they can win it. Here's Sessegnon's long throw, headed away by Taylor at the back for Wycombe, but it'll go straight back out to Sessegnon on the Fulham right. Keeps it away from McNeely. They work it back to the edge of the centre circle and Castagna. Now it's with Lukic, just lifts the ball into the area. Good strong header clear by Taylor, and Henderson can bring it further clear for Wycombe. Only Bell ahead of him, so he feeds it out to Sam Bell. Left hand side, running at Castagna into the left hand corner of the area. Still has it, Sam Bell. Went for a shot, blocked away. As far as McNeely, it's the shoot. It's only a yard or two wide. He really flashed at that, McNeely, from 25 yards out. But it's a Fulham goal kick at the end of it all, 1-1.
Well, I'm just watching Lee as well in the middle of the park, trying to conduct the fans, but it's a ferocious strike from McNeely, very similar to the way Woodrow hit it in the first half. It's just the fact that he's not found the target.
7,872 inside Adams Park. Good 1,800 of those have come just up the M40 from Fulham, and they've all had a good night, but we're destined for penalty shootout here if nothing changes in these remaining 3.5 minutes of minimum stoppage time. 1-1. Fulham coming forward again, trying to win it with this at Diop. Infield to Lukic, centre of the Wycombe half. Rolls it back to his right for Diop. Faced up by Boyd Muntz. Played back infield to Bassi. He's at the centre of the Wycombe half now. Iwobi with his back to goal. Feeds Lukic up to the edge of the area. King tries to toe poke it through for the striker Kusiasari, but he couldn't take the ball with him. And just a desperate anywhere will do clearance from Wycombe. 1-1.
Yeah, and the problem is Fulham, they're having to try and play in such a small area of the pitch, because Wycombe, rightly so, they've got all the bodies in. They're trying to be really compact, not conceding. Every time they get on the ball, Fulham, every pass seems like they've got to thread the eye of the needle.
Adama Traore bursting down the right hand side again, level with the 18-yard line. Boyd Muntz facing him up, clips it back to Lukic, ball to the far post, only half cleared by Onyedinma, worked back by Sessegnon to Iwobi at the edge of the D, trying to make room for a shot, gets the left-footed shot away, but it's well wide, didn't connect with it, anything like how he would have wanted Alex Iwobi. Goal kick to Wycombe, seconds tick away, 2.5 of added time to play, 1-1.
Yeah, showing phenomenal character, Wycombe. When they concede early in that second half, it would be easy to fall apart, and especially because of the pressure that Fulham continued after that. Probably the next 15 minutes it was incessant, it was wave after wave, but they've stood strong, they've kept the ball out of the back of the net and could be earning themselves a penalty shootout.
Well, Wycombe are 5 unbeaten at home, 4 wins and a draw in their last 5 games here at Adams Park, as well as being unbeaten in 5 games home and away under new manager Michael Duff. Norris's clearance from that goal kick goes straight out of play, but it is in the Fulham half of the field, and time is running out for the Premier League side to win this inside regulation distance. Penalties upcoming as things stand on Talksport. But here come Fulham, maybe one last chance. Traore up against Harvey down the right-hand side, trying to get the better of him. Good cross up to the far post. It's only palmed away as far as Kevin! Cleared off the line by Hagelskjær. Brilliant defending to deny Fulham a winner.
Unbelievable defending. Love that from Hagelskjær. Thinking worst case scenario, back on the line, just close to the left, the right-hand post as we look at it. What a clearance that is.
But still it is with Fulham. Traore again on the right, puts the cross into the near post. It's missed by a number of players. King trying to wriggle his way into space, surrounded by blue shirts, and one of them, Leahy, just puts his foot through it like a rugby clearance to find touch. 1-1. Desperate stuff at the end here.
And I tell you what, I think Henderson is a little bit lucky there, because he flies out to King thinking he's going to get the block off, and King just rolls the ball, and if he makes contact there, it's a penalty. But it's just, again, desperate defending. I don't mind it. Put your body on the line to keep it out of the back of the net.
Fulham still working to try and win it. Here comes Calvin Bassey, centre of the Wycombe half. Iwobi tucks it out to the left-hand side for Sessegnon. Sessegnon finds Kevin, who's just gone so close to winning it for Fulham. Now Bassey across to Diop. 30 seconds to go. Traore bursting down the right-hand side of the area again. The cross is put behind by Hagelskjær for a late Fulham corner. It's landed on the roof of the stand away to our left, that clearance. Can Fulham win it with the last set piece of the game? 1-1.
Yeah, this is it, now or never. It's about Wycombe. Can you stand firm? Can you do everything you need to do to keep the ball out of the back of the net and earn yourself a penalty shootout?
Talksport and Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup. We have a penalty shootout looming between League One and Premier League. Lukic to take this corner on the right-hand side where the Frank Adams stand meets the away end. An away swinger to come. And it goes to the near post. Flicked on by Diop, but nobody else could get there. And the referee, Bobby Madley, signals the end of the 90 minutes. And huge applause from three sides of Adams Park for these League One players who have acquitted themselves so well tonight. They forced a penalty shootout against Premier League Fulham, having taken the lead early on through former Fulham player Corley Woodrow with a thunderbolt of a strike inside 5 minutes. And even though Fulham got themselves level within a couple of minutes of the restart through a very clever finish for Josh King's first Fulham goal, Wycombe stood firm, would not let Fulham pass any further, and so, Courtney, we've got penalties coming up.
Yeah, rightly so. They thoroughly deserve it, Wycombe, the way that they went in front. They obviously in the first half to start with. Know how they've played, the fact that they didn't just sit in and soak up all the pressure for the first and the second half. They've still tried to be ambitious and go forward. Again, in the second half, they were put under more pressure. The early goal that they conceded, you've seen teams come up against Premier League opposition, in this sort of position and crumble when they concede a goal like that and the pressure that was put on them. But they stood firm. There were still moments where they attacked and had their own chances in the second half. And yeah, they deserve this penalty shootout now. But when that whistle goes, you see so many Wycombe players drop to the floor. What have they got left in their legs to be able to try and win this penalty shootout?
Well, lists are being made right now. We'll bring you that penalty shootout upcoming here on Talksport. But for the time being, at full time here at Adams Park, it has finished in the Carabao Cup. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Fulham 1.
Shootout to come, just take a breath. That drama, goal line clearances, corners flying in, crosses flying in. What a finish at Adams Park to the 90 minutes and straight to penalties, and we'll be straight back there for penalties very shortly. Cardiff still lead 2-1 at Wrexham in what was an 8 o'clock kickoff, so still time left in that one. All over though at Blundell Park, and it was easy in the end for the Premier League side. Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, Grimsby 0, Brentford 5. The Mariners unable to net a second big fish in the cup run. A night on which they started superbly, but as soon as the much-changed Bees took the lead midway through the first half, they took complete control. The excellent Jensen stroked in the first. Lewis Potter added a second within 4 minutes. And when Nelson scored his first Bees goal just before half-time, any lingering jeopardy evaporated. Carvalho won and scored a penalty. Collins headed home from a corner. They had 2 more disallowed for offside. A night of supreme Bees efficiency. 5 shots on target, 5 goals, an eye-catching debut cameo from Ramel Donovan, and their biggest ever away win in the League Cup, which denied Grimsby a first League Cup quarter-final for 41 years, Dean Ashton.
It was so comfortable in the end, so clinical. Once Grimsby gave up that first goal, the atmosphere was sapped away from Blundell Park. And look, it's been a fantastic run for Grimsby. The Manchester United game here, of course, will live long in the memory. But Brentford showing their class this season and also this evening, and the strength in depth that they've got in their squad. lots of great teams still left in the competition, but why not? Brentford should be looking at this competition to see if they can get some success.
Well, they're through to the quarterfinals for a second successive season. Grimsby 0, Brentford 5.
Easy for Brentford, and some of the Brentford fans wanted to see teenager Ramel Donovan, and they got to see him as well. Let's see if Fulham are going through or going out in the Carabao Cup. Straight back to Adams Park. Penalty shootout incoming live on Talksport. Ian Danter.
Thanks, Adrian. And the penalties will be taken away to our right at the Beechdean Terrace end, where the loudest of the Wycombe fans are. They're shining a few of their phone torches whilst they're flying their flags as well over at the far end away to our right. The two goalkeepers, Will Norris of Wycombe and Benjamin Lecomte of Fulham, are making their way down to that end, and so too is Ewan Henderson, who joined in July from Beerschot. He's going to take the first penalty, the former Celtic youth man, in this penalty shootout. Don't forget, big Celtic man Alan Brazil back on Talksport Breakfast tomorrow, being poked with sticks no doubt by Alan McCoist about everything that's going on at Celtic Park right now. And it is Henderson who's going to be first up in this shootout for Wycombe. So Lecomte comes over from the touchline, and he's now being reminded of his responsibilities by referee Robert Madley about keeping 1 foot on the line at least when the ball is struck and all that jazz. So, a penalty shootout for the right to go into round 5 in the Carabao Cup. About to get underway. Wycombe get first dibs then. It's the 25-year-old Ewan Henderson with the first penalty of the night. Away to our right-hand side. 4 or 5 pace run up for Henderson. Right-footed. And it's saved by Lecomte. Great start for Fulham. The French keeper plunged to his right and made a super stop. And it stays 0-0.
Yeah, you know what, it's a really good save, and Henderson for me has been the player of the match, so unfortunate he misses the penalty. I don't think it's that poor. It's down, it's low to the left hand side. It looks like it's nestling in the side net, and it struck relatively well. It's just a very good save from the goalkeeper.
So one number 20 has missed, the other number 20 is set to take as the phone torches get switched on behind that goal by the Wycombe fans, trying to put Sasa Lucic off. Came on as a substitute, Lukic, in the second half, so he's first up for Fulham to try and give them an early advantage. Right-footed, and he finds the bottom corner that Henderson couldn't find. Norris guessed right and went to his right, but Lukic scores, and it's 1-0 to Fulham after 1 penalty apiece on Talksport.
Yeah, really not a dissimilar penalty, but just struck with that little bit more power to make sure that it beats the goalkeeper. Advantage Fulham.
Luke Leahy, real veteran of EFL football, great spells at Bristol Rovers and Shrewsbury, started his career at Falkirk, hasn't scored this season, got a few assists for Wycombe. What's he going to be like with a left-footed pen at the Beechdean Terrace end for the second penalty for Wycombe? He's not taking anything of a run-up, maybe 1 or 2 paces. Now he's moving back 3 or 4 paces as Bobby Madley blows his whistle. Up against Lecomte. Leahy trying to get Wycombe on the board here in this shootout, and he finds the bottom right-hand corner. Lecomte guessed correctly, but a good pen from the veteran Leahy, and Wycombe are on the board.
Yeah, good penalty. Struck hard and low across the goalkeeper. The left footer, you see, he's just shaping up. Didn't take too long in terms of the run-up, but made sure he dispatched it properly.
Adama Traore. He's up next for Fulham. Came on a free from Wolverhampton Wanderers. Made nearly 70 appearances. Got a couple of Premier League goals last season. Once again, the phone torches go on behind that goal to try and put off the Fulham number 11. He's going to try and give him an advantage after 2 penalties. Right-footed into the corner. Kissed the side netting. No way that Norris was getting anywhere near that, and he hadn't guessed right anyway. After 2 penalties on Talksport, Fulham lead 2-1.
That is emphatic, that penalty. It's mid-goal, so normally you say, you've got to go high or low, but the fact that it struck so well, completely in the side netting, even if he goes the right way, the goalkeeper, you're right, Dance, is never saving that one.
Keelan Boyd Muntz, who spent the last couple of seasons at St Mirren in the Scottish Premiership before dropping down to League One with Wycombe, former Birmingham City Academy midfielder. He scored against Fulham in the EFL Trophy. He scores in the penalty shootout with Wycombe's 3rd penalty. So after the early miss They've scored their next two, so 2-2 at the moment, but Fulham haven't taken their third penalty yet, and Kevin's about to do so.
No messing about there with that penalty. Such a short run up, whistle goes, and just straight onto it. I actually think he takes the goalkeeper a little bit by surprise.
It took us by surprise, let's face it. So Kevin is up next for Fulham's third penalty to try and restore their advantage. Very nearly scored the winner in the last knockings, but for a goal line clearance. Very straight run up at the moment for Kevin as he addresses the ball. They just jog to the left hand side slightly. He does, up against Will Norris. Short stuttering run up, right footed effort, finds the bottom left hand corner as Norris went to his left but didn't get near it. And so after 3 penalties in this shootout, it is Wycombe 2, Fulham 3.
And he just sort of redresses the run up initially, goes back straight, and then just takes a little hop and skip and the jump initially just to find his angle again. But performed well today, Kevin. There's been moments where it's not quite come off, or he's not always made the right decision, but he's definitely shown sparks and really pushing for that Premier League place now.
Anders Hegelskier, who cleared off the line from that Kevin shot towards the end of the match, taking the next penalty for Wycombe. Penalty number 4 for them, left-footed, drives it down the centre and gives Wycombe a bit of hope, but they're running out of chances to stay in this tie. Alex Iwobi's coming forward next for Fulham. All Fulham have got to do is keep scoring, and they're through to round 5.
Yeah, Wycombe running out of time, but another good penalty. I used to love taking penalties, but I'd never put one down the middle. There's always that worry in the back of your head that the goalkeeper doesn't move, but
no Panenkas? You've never done the penalty?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. There's still time, you know. Alex Iwobi came on as a substitute for Fulham. Again, the torches go on behind the goal to try and put him off. Up against Norris, and it's in. Oh, Norris got so close to saving it, but the ball went underneath his right wrist and went into the bottom corner. So it is 4 from 4 for Fulham, and so now it's up to Sam Bell to keep Wycombe in the competition. If he doesn't score this, Fulham are through.
That was the moment, wasn't it, for the goalkeeper? Norris goes the right way, gets a glove on it, but despairingly just trickles past him.
So Sam Bell on loan from Bristol City at Wycombe, already scored 3 goals in his early appearances to keep Wycombe in the tie up against Lecomte, with Wycombe's 5th penalty. Short run up, right footed. Oh, it's in by a little left hand from Lecomte, couldn't keep it out. So Fulham have scored 4 of their 5, but now it's down to Ryan Sessegnon. If he scores, then there is nothing that the Chairboys can do.
It's a big moment for Sessegnon. Even though he's relatively young, he's still got bags of experience, but all the fans behind that Beechdean Terrace will do their best to try and put him off, but just walking up, he looks calm, he looks composed, doesn't look under too much pressure.
Returned to Fulham last year after he left for Tottenham in 2019. Sessegnon to take Fulham through in this shootout. Left-footed up against Norris, and it's saved by Norris. Went to his right, guessed right, and we're all square into sudden death on Talksport. 4-4 after the regulation 5 spot kicks each.
It's a poor penalty by Sessegnon, if I'm honest. He choreographs it in terms of the way that he's left-footed and he opens up. You can tell what he's going to do. But at that point, if you're going to choreograph it, make sure that you strike it well with enough power. He goes down to the goalkeeper's right, but it wasn't anywhere near enough power in it to beat him. And the trajectory of the ball as well, it wasn't side netting.
So on we go. Sudden death now on Talksport between League One Wycombe and Premier League Fulham. It's Fred Onyedinma next up for Wycombe in his 4th spell at the club. Right footed, and it's saved by Lecomte, punched away off the goal line. And it's advantage Fulham once again. Lecomte plunged into his left and punched it away. And now it's down to the young substitute, the 18-year-old Jonah Kusi Asari, on loan from Bayern Munich, to take what could be the decisive penalty for Fulham.
Well, surprised Onyedinma didn't take one earlier, to be honest. Top goal scorer in the league for Wycombe, and you're thinking your forwards always should be first up, but looking at that penalty, it was poor, to be honest. So probably begs the question as to why he didn't take one earlier.
So the young Swedish under-21 international can take Fulham through here. Only a 2-pace run-up for Kusiasari to take Fulham through. Saved again by Will Norris. They will not go out. They will not wilt under the face of pressure. Another save from Norris. And it stays at 4-4 after 6 penalties apiece. Goodness me.
You know what, Dan? Last season I actually did the Preston Fulham game when it 32, I think.
Oh, you
in
did
the
that
end,
one.
I did that game, but that was because every single penalty almost was excellent, hitting top corners, left, right, and centre. Whereas this one, it's a little bit different.
Donald McNeely, 19 years of age, on loan, having just joined Nottingham Forest from the Chelsea Academy. Scored again against Fulham's under-21s in the EFL Trophy. What's he like in a penalty shootout? In the Carabao Cup, up against Wycombe, right-footed, saved again! 3 saves in a row in this penalty shootout. Wycombe does it again. And again it's match point to the Premier League side, and now it's up to Issa Diop to try and get the job done.
Dan, so all the players are asking about the goalkeeper coming off the line. They're turning round and they're looking at the big screen to our left because they are absolutely sure that the goalkeeper has come off his line there.
Well, Bobby Madley wants nothing to do with it. He's telling Will Norris to get back in his goal line, and Norris is pointing at the Jumbotron screen, but they're not showing a replay away to our left-hand side. So that's a debate for later. But once again, Fulham have the chance to win this cup tie. And it's Issa Diop, the centre-half, with this penalty kick. Can he win it for Fulham? Yes, he can. He blasts it into the roof of the net, and Fulham are through. It took them a penalty shootout to do it, to see off League One Wycombe. But when they do, and Fulham are through to round 5 after a very patchy penalty shootout with both goalkeepers making important saves. But when it came to the crunch, Fulham just had a little bit too much for their League One opponents.
Yeah, they just showed that Premier League quality in the end. You know, in all honesty, it's quite a poor shootout, quite a few penalties missed there. But in the second half, you're expecting Fulham, to be honest, after they got that early goal to run away with it, but they didn't. Wycombe stood strong. They were more than credit for the fact that they'd scored the early goal, that they got themselves in front, that they didn't just hang on in the second half, by the way, when they conceded. They made sure that they tried to offer something going forward and fully deserved the penalty shootout. And then, you know, on another day, the luck goes their way. They're probably through to the next round. Obviously, there's question marks over the penalty and whether the Fulham goalkeeper comes off his line. And I think there's questions are being asked. But it's always difficult in these situations, and I've been there as a player when you lose. But Wycombe should be very proud of themselves, the way that they've conducted themselves and pushed Premier League opposition. And I know right now that means nothing, but you know, there's bigger things to come in League One for this side now, and they're really going to start to push on and push themselves up the league if this performance is anything to go by.
But the last word went to Issa Diop, who thundered the penalty home, Harry Maguire style, you might say, to take Fulham through to round 5. It finished after full time. Wycombe Wanderers won, Fulham won, but Fulham won 5-4 on penalties.
Well, I'm glad you kept count. And Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, you tell me that you never Panyenki, you never put one down the middle. Issa Diop's penalty. With the pressure on, that's how you take a penalty. That was sensational, that hit.
Courtney?
Yeah, I mean, he showed me how it's done, hasn't he, the centre half. I mean, maybe if we were back in Switzerland and playing and Joe Shannon was in goal, then I might think one down the middle. But in a proper game, I always went for power and side netting.
But that's how you win a penalty shootout. And listen, let's give the goalkeepers, Courtney, a little bit of credit, because they made some saves in that shootout. And Will Norris has been in shootouts before where he never made a save. I can remember one in particular at Hillsborough in a playoff semi-final where he didn't get a glove on a ball. But tonight he gave Wycombe a chance, and you got to feel for him.
Yeah, you have, because you know the goalkeepers in that position, I don't think are ever expected to make those saves. I think it's on the players to put the ball in the back of the net, and it's probably always sort of best case scenario for the goalkeepers in terms of if you do make those saves and you do become a hero for the night, then great. But that's not an expectation. And I'm just watching the Fulham players here now, Aid, in front of the fans, the 1,800 strong travelling fans, and they're really taking it in. You know, they're making sure that they're celebrating, but still, I think that would have been too close for comfort for them. And that's no disrespect to Wycombe, but they are League One opposition, and in the moments where they could have really pushed forward Fulham, They didn't, and I think there's probably still more answers than questions about them going forward in the Premier League and you know what that means going forward for Marco Silva. I'm not saying that he's anywhere near being sacked. He's got a lot of credit in the bank for me, but you know the Premier League form has to change. That has to get better.